From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Thank you, and welcome to the PM session of the Tuesday, November 7, 2017 meeting of the Kern County Board of Supervisors. We are going to start today with a report on actions taken in closed session, so I'll turn to County Counsel Mark Nations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board did meet in closed session on items 44 through 48. From the morning agenda, all of those closed sessions were held. No reportable action was taken in any of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nations. If you'd like to follow along with our agendas today, they are located at the two back tables by the exits. And so we're going to begin with our consent agenda. All items listed with a CA or C above the item are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. The CA represents the consent agenda for the Board of Supervisors. The C represents the consent agenda for the Kern Sanitation Authority and the Ford City-TAFT Heights Sanitation District. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken on the consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So at this time, I'm going to read the consent agenda items for the Board of Supervisors. Starting on page 3, items 6 through 9 are all on consent. On page 4, all items 10 through 16 are on consent. On page 5, all items 17 through 20 are on consent. On page 6, items 21 and 22 are on consent. Page 7, items 23 through 25 on consent. On page 8, items 26 and 27 are on consent, as well as 29 through 33. On page 9, all items 34 through 40 are on consent. And finally, on page 10, items 41 through 45 are on consent. Are there any members of the audience who would like to make any comments on the consent agenda? Mr. Fox, please come forward. We ask that you state your name for the record and let me know which item you're interested in.
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. I'm Dennis Fox. Items 14 and 15 have to do with the flooding of Lamont and the repair thereof. The Kern County Grand Jury says the cause of that has been individuals diverting Caliente Creek onto the highway. And previously, I brought the same thing up about 6 weeks ago, and it was whether these people who are moving this creek have a permit to do so, generally from the 404 permit from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and then there's state ones for the Fish and Game. And I was told to do it in writing, which I did, and I still have no answer. I think this is something that should be looked at, and maybe even in closed session so I don't get too far into it, because there was a wrongful death out there. Somebody drowned, and who's at risk for that? So it's perhaps the county, every time two coyotes pee up there on the mountains, Lamont floods. Perhaps about time something got done, and the people who caused it or thought a crimp would do it, but it wasn't decided bureaucratically that it would become a monument out there, a monument to. And that leads me to the second question, which I also decided to ask, and that is the citizens of Bakersfield going to get stuck for the monument up at the Delta, the Twin Tunnels, $30 billion, which produces nothing in the way of more water, and we're going to get stuck with this. And it's not the state, and it's not everybody in the county. It's the zones of benefit that Bakersfield does not benefit, but Bakersfield pays. And that is coming up, and I think that is what I was also should be looking. If the county acquiesces to this stuff, then I guess we're stuck. And it seems like there's a problem with Proposition 218. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Any other comments on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board. Do any board members want to pull any items from the consent agenda? Okay, I have one item that I want to pull, and that's 29. I just have a brief comment on that and a request. And so if there's no other requests from the board, then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 29 and adjourn as the Board of Supervisors and reconvene as the Kern Sanitation Authority.
So moved.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. We're now sitting as the Kern Sanitation Authority. We have one item on the consent agenda. That's item number 1. Are there any members of the audience that have any comments on item 1? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board and request a motion to approve the consent agenda and to adjourn as the Kern Sanitation Authority and reconvene as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District.
So moved. Second.
Before we do the consent agenda, Chairman, I would just like to ask Mr. Fox if he could make an appointment to meet with my office so I can bring you up to speed on where we are, the joint efforts by the chairman and myself to address the Kelly Creek issue. It's immensely complicated, too lengthy to get into today. But if you could come and make an appointment with me, I'd like to bring you up to speed on that. So thank you, Chairman.
Okay, absolutely. Okay, so do we have a motion to that effect?
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Okay, we're now sitting as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District. That's item number 2 on our agenda. And do we have any members of the audience that would like to make any comment on item 2? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board and request a motion to approve the consent agenda and to adjourn as the Ford City Taft Heights Sanitation District and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors.
So moved. Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is public presentations. Do we have any members of the audience that would like to make a public presentation? This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Do we have any public presentations? Okay, see none then. Oh, I'm sorry, John, I didn't see. Come on up. Sorry,
Thank you.
John.
Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Supervisors, I'm here today to verbally invite you to the Kern County National Apprenticeship Week.
John, we know you.
event.
We know you, but everybody,
sorry.
everybody in Kern County doesn't.
What do you want?
Say your name, please.
I didn't. John Spalding.
Thank you.
Spaulding. I'm Executive Secretary of the Kern County Building Trades, and I'm here to invite you, all of you, to the National Apprenticeship Week event that we're holding at IBEW NECA Hall on Select Avenue. It's the 14th and 15th, and I know that's a schedule conflict for you on Tuesday, and that will be the highlight of the event. But the second day is all the guys, which they aren't second-class citizens, but the first day is all high school students and college-ready students around Kern County and beyond, in the purview of the Kern County Community Development, or Kern County Community College District. This is an event put on by the College District in partnership with Department of Apprenticeship Standards for the state of California and also the Building Trades Apprenticeship Coordinators. As you remember, last year you were gracious and presented us a resolution for our first annual. This is our second annual, and we're pleased to have that program back. We expect about 175 young women and 175 young men to come in on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively, the 14th and the 15th. And they are uniquely targeted because they are interested in entering the building trades. Last year was kind of surprising. They, in the first day, they asked the young ladies, 150 of them, how many of them were really interested in apprenticeship for construction. And there were about a half a dozen hands that went up. They went out to the exhibits and the hands-on training and the hands-on overview of each of the crafts. They came back in for lunch after having been out there, and they asked them again, how many of you are now thinking about maybe construction's not a bad idea if you're not college bound? About 50% went up. So they found out that there is a place for women in construction. There is definitely a place for those young men that come in on Tuesday. We don't have the entire program set up yet, so I can't give you many more details than that. But it's November 14th and 15th, 9:30 to 1:30. And we have exhibits and demonstrations and hands-on work for about 12 of the 14 crafts. So we're very excited about it and want to invite each of you to come if you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spalding. I think Supervisor Perez has a comment.
Thank you. Just a quick question. John, is this the one I attended last year?
It definitely is the one you spoke to and invited everyone,
I
yes.
can't believe it's been a year.
Pardon?
I can't believe it's been a year already.
It's been 1 year, yeah.
That was an excellent success. Thank you for doing it.
It was a great event. It was something we hadn't done before in Kern County, and we were real pleased with it. And so Kern County, the Kern Community College District was very gracious in putting this on again. So we look forward to the opportunity.
Excellent. Nice work, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public presentations? Okay, seeing none, then I'll move on then to board member announcements or reports. Anything? Supervisor Gleason.
I'd just like once again to thank, make sure people watching the afternoon session understand what a great job the Kern County Fire Department did by saving a whole city block in McFarland over the weekend. Their quick response and the way they managed those things was critical in the quick extermination of that potentially disastrous event, thanks to the fire department.
Thank you, Supervisor, and thanks to the chief and all our firefighters. Okay, I'm going to exercise Chairman's discretion here. The next item on the agenda is item number 5. However, we do have an item, and that item I know has a lot of people that are here to speak to it. And we have an item 28 where there's just a couple of people that are here. I'd like to get this item out of the way so those folks can go back to work. So that's item 28 under the County Administrative Office. This is a presentation regarding Advance Kern, a partnership with Kern Economic Development Corporation to promote the county's economic development and proposed revisions to county economic development incentive policy. So I'm going to turn to Ryan Alsop and our County Administrative Officer to start us off on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Teresa Hitchcock, Assistant CAO, will handle this item for the CAO's office.
Ms. Hitchcock, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chairman Scrivener, members of the board. The item before you today is to request your board's approval of an innovative new economic development incentive program aimed at positioning Kern County to compete globally for new business investment, to retain and grow existing business, and most importantly, to bolster job creation. The goals of Advance Kern and the revised economic incentive policy are to take advantage of new and exciting economic development opportunities that have been largely aspirational in the past. So why implement an economic incentive policy? According to Site Selection's annual consultant survey, incentives ranked number 2 in their elements of business climate. According to Andreas Dressler, in an article about Site Selection magazine's annual survey, 2/3 of the consultants surveyed said that it was very important for a location to have the flexibility to craft a customized incentive package for specific projects. Economic incentive policies are meant to support local strategies for business recruitment and retention and to help balance inequities in the system. Incentives also indicate the commitment level of a region to economic growth. Kern County, through this policy, is sending a strong and proactive message to the business community. There is a strategic location in Southern California where you can efficiently and effectively serve 40 million people in the state and all of the western United States where the cost of living is affordable, labor is abundant, and where local government is committed to your ultimate success. The new county policy has been designed with best practices in mind and is updated to comply with government code, which requires a public hearing for incentives in excess of $100,000. Performance-based incentives are the centerpiece of the new policy to assure transparency and guarantee accountability for the use of public funds. Quantitative performance standards will be required for all agreements. Some of the requirements include commitment to a definite location and term of operation for targeted project types, such as value-added agriculture, transportation, logistics, warehousing, manufacturing, e-commerce, destination retail, medical technology, and aerospace and defense. In addition, attainment and maintenance of new full-time job targets by increasing the current threshold for program participation from 10 new jobs, which is the current threshold in the current program, to 100 new jobs at a sustainable wage, or 10 or more new jobs at 200% of the sustainable wage rate. Meeting and maintaining production targets and development size or operational metrics, and achieving appropriate project milestones, timelines, and other necessary standards to realize the full potential of a project. The current policy, which was implemented in 2000 and had minor revisions in 2009, has not kept pace with the policies in other jurisdictions. Because of the arbitrary 5-year cap on rebates under the program, it has only been used twice in the past 5 years. Another reason the program has not seen greater use is SB 975, which was enacted on January 1st, 2002, which requires the use of prevailing wages for any project that receives public funding. And the reason that's a limitation is because our incentive package is very low, so it drives the cost of the project up. The new policy, like the former policy, is a rebate program and will rebate incremental increase in revenue generated by a project. Unless the project generates new revenue to the county, no incentives will be paid. The current incentive policy provides a 90% rebate on the incremental increase in tax revenue created by a new project over a 5-year period. The proposed policy will eliminate all caps, setting the stage for opportunities for more meaningful, robust, and competitive incentive packages in pursuit of impactful business investment. In addition, for the first time ever, the county's incentive agreements will prioritize sustained, full-time job creation at better than living wage rate for Kern County. The proposed policy also expands the list of targeted industry clusters for these incentives to include e-commerce, general manufacturing, and destination retail. The proposed policy requires that new businesses will be reviewed on a case-by-case basis for overall net benefit and value added, with incentives tailored to meet county objectives. Why is it important to consider an economic incentive policy? In a recent 2017 State Business Tax Climate Index, California was ranked as one of the 10 worst business tax climates in the U.S. In addition, as a state, California offers very few incentives or supports for businesses looking at relocation in California. Other counties within California are successfully using incentives to attract major projects to their communities. Project Cougar is a prime example. Fresno successfully recruited this project with an incentive package similar to the one your board is considering today. Overall benefits from the project were estimated at $2.8 billion over 30 years. Fresno's proposed incentive to lure the $2.8 billion in benefit was $30 million over the same 30-year period. Other jurisdictions that are successfully using incentives to grow economic opportunity for their citizens include Anaheim, La Quinta, Stockton, Vacaville, and Visalia. We believe that this is a game-changing program that will advance the business case for companies to choose Kern County for their future relocation and expansion needs. Therefore, it is recommended that your board approve the proposed County Economic Development Incentive Plan. And thank you. That concludes my presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Hitchcock, thank you so much for your work on this, and to everyone on the CAO staff. I'll now open this up for public comment. Are there any members of the audience who would like to make comment on this item? Please come forward. I ask you to state your name, please.
Good afternoon, Chairman Scrivener and members of the board. My name is Richard Chapman, President and CEO of the Kern Economic Development Corporation. I'm here today to speak in support of the revised incentive policy. Advanced Kern Initiative is a multi-pronged initiative, much like our recent innovation tour to Fresno, to look at best practices in our region. This is a best practice policy that many of our competitors are emulating. And this will get, in many cases, our community on the short list. It's icing on the cake. It's not the only component as we look at site selection factors like labor availability, labor quality, highway accessibility. But this is a top, as we've seen, a top 5 site selection factor to help our community make the short list. There was a reference to the Site Selection Magazine survey. In addition, Area Development conducted a survey, and according to the consultants, site selection consultants and corporate real estate execs, 89% of consultants viewed an incentive program, a proactive incentive program, as critical in terms of competing for a project. California's economic development toolkit has been significantly diluted over the last 5 years with the recent elimination of tax increment financing, redevelopment, as well as enterprise zones. And as always, local programs seem to be the best fit in terms of competing for projects. This program complements the county economic development strategy as it is. Kern EDC is the steward of that program. And the key and goal of this program is to obtain projects, both industrial, as we've seen, manufacturing, food processing, logistics, aerospace, defense. And so this, we feel, will, again, make sure that we get an invitation to the dance. The critical thing I would like to mention, this is not just for companies looking to come to Kern County. This is for local companies that are looking to expand or stay in Kern County. We often hear where local companies are not able to apply for programs like these in other communities. This, again, will be an available option to all companies that fit the targeted mix. And again, this is not an upfront incentive. Many regions around the country are struggling with, as they call it, clawback provisions, where they write blank checks to companies to come in, and those companies do not fulfill the obligations. This will make sure that they fulfill the obligation, or they are not able to secure the rebate. The ROI, return on investment, is significant. As we saw from the Fresno case, it was 100 to 1 return on investment. For that $1, the community received over $100 in return for that project over a 30-year timeline. In conclusion, this is a performance-based incentive program, case by case. It's up to the discretion of the Board of Supervisors, and for full-time family wage or sustainable jobs. We're excited by this potential opportunity and the ability to market this not just throughout California, but nationally. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Mr. Chapman, thank you for your comments. Any other members of the audience would like to make comment on this? How many more do I have? 1, 2, 3, okay. Please come forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Phil Rudnick. I am here to encourage the board to adopt the resolution that's been requested. I think that anything that will help include the standard of living and the quality of life in our community should be applauded. And certainly the investment of $30 million to generate almost $3 billion is a no-brainer. Let's hope that this initiative is successful, that we will have in our community the amenities that the people will want to come here and live and work and enjoy the standard of living and the quality of life that we have here now. So I'm very much in favor of this initiative, and please give it your very strong recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Who will be next, please?
Good afternoon, Chairman Scribner and members of the board. I'm Kelly Bearden with the CSU Bakersfield Small Business Development Center, and I'd like to speak in favor of the proposal for the incentive program. As many of us know, in economic development, these larger projects are decided by people outside the area. Unlike our small businesses that actually reside in the communities that they invest in, these are decision makers who are making bare bones, penny pinching decisions. And whereas Kern County has been a very advantageous to do business for both small, medium, and large businesses, we have been at a decisive advantage since other members of the San Joaquin Valley have started offering incentive programs. So I just wanted to speak in support of this. The SBDC works with a lot of the smaller businesses that hope they can grow into this program. We also follow the Kern County economic development clusters, with the exception of warehousing, which is more of a big business cluster. So again, support the project, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman and members of the board. Romeo Agbalog on behalf of Kern Citizens for Sustainable Government. Just want to take this opportunity to commend your staff for fostering this dialogue and for the efforts put forth to make Kern County a more competitive county and to improve our business climate here locally. We appreciate these efforts. We just had one suggestion to see if at some point you'd expand the targeted industry clusters to include all businesses and industries. But with that, we think this is a step in the right direction. We support it, and hopefully this is a springboard where you can have a greater discussion in terms of looking at things like streamlining permitting processes and reducing fees as other tools to make Kern County a better place to do business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Michael Turnipseed representing the Kern County Taxpayers Association. Last week, I went to the California Economic Summit in San Diego. I was there with 500 other people, and me and an associate of mine were the only two from Kern County that we could recognize. We couldn't recognize anybody. There were a dozen people from Fresno. All over the state were there. And we have a saying, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So hopefully this gives us a seat at the table to compete with the other areas of the state and bring some economic development to our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turnipseed.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my name is Joe Renfro with the Hone Ranch Company, also a member of the Kern EDC board, and I won't belabor the points already made, but would like to commend the CAO's office and Kern EDC for their proactive approach to bringing this presentation before you today. I think a lot of valid points were made in the presentation as well as by those who supported it. It's a very strong message out to the public that we are open for business and desirous of recruiting new businesses to our community, and I think this will be a very good effort for the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a great idea. I've attended some a workshop in the development of this. I'm all for it, and look forward to the opportunities it's going to bring for us to bring good jobs to our community. So I'm happy to motion an affirmative vote on the matter.
Supervisor Couch.
I second the motion, but I want to ask a question. We have something in some different areas of the county called economic opportunity areas that don't have any job cap requirements and those types of things. This doesn't preclude those from still being used. It's just another tool. Is that correct?
Chairman Couch or Supervisor Couch through the chair, that is correct. This is just another tool for our economic development folks to use in order to attract a new business to our county.
Thank you.
Supervisor Gleason.
I'll third the motion, but before I do that, I got a question. Ms. Hitchcock, how are we going about marketing this to, in my mind, in Eastern Kern, I'm thinking we have, the Raytheons, we have the Lockheed Martins, we have the Northrop Grummans, we have these national scale enterprises that attracting them to come doing business here would be lucrative for us. How do we go about marketing our plan nationally?
We have actually a couple of really great organizations, Kern Economic Development Corporation and the Greater Antelope Valley Economic Development Corporation, that go to a number of site selector conferences every year, plus they reach out to a number of businesses in order to promote our county. So this will give them the opportunity to promote this program as well.
So what is I got three questions. That's one. The other one is, our president has a new tax plan that may get approved where he's going to slash corporate tax rates possibly and attract all this new investment to come back to the country. How does that intersect with what we're doing here? And how do we market to that to attract those dollars? It's a great opportunity.
It is a great opportunity, and hopefully it is very beneficial for us as well here in Kern County, although that's a national plan. So I still think that anything we can do locally to differentiate ourselves from the national model will help us.
And does the Indian Wells Valley Economic Development Corporation and the Eastern Kern Economic Development Corporation, are they aware of all this, and how are we getting word to them, and how are they helping us?
They are aware. We did send this policy out to a number of folks to get input on it. So as soon as it's passed, we'll let everyone know that it's now available, and we'll work with those groups to make sure that they understand what the policy is so they can promote it.
So if I get questions, you're the point person for Advanced Kern?
Actually, Richard Chapman is the point person for
Okay.
Advanced Kern.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. I don't see any other requests for comments. I have heard from some of my constituents in East Kern, Mojave Chamber of Commerce, and I know that they are excited about this, just like I think every region of Kern should be. So congratulations to you, Mr. Chapman, KDC, our county administrative staff for their work on this. And so we have a motion, a second, and a third. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. Okay, that will take us back to item number 5. I appreciate everybody's patience on that item. This is an item under the Planning and Natural Resources Department, and I will turn to Craig Murphy, who is our Planning Department's Division Chief, and I'm going to ask him to kick us off on the discussion here. There'll be a staff presentation. We're going to have, I believe, a presentation from the applicant after that, and then we'll go into the public comment period. And so I'm going to hear from those that are in favor of the project first, and then we'll hear from those in opposition, and I'll allow a short rebuttal period. And so that's how it's going to go. We're going to limit speakers, with the exception of the presentation from the applicant, limit speakers to 3 minutes, Madam Clerk. Okay? Mr. Murphy, when you're ready, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I have with me on my right is Alexa Koloski. She is the project planner who processed and worked on this case through the consideration of the Planning Commission and before your board today. So the request before your board is an appeal to the Kern County Planning Commission decision to disapprove conditional use permit number 11, map 77, which proposed 3-day-long event festivals that would be held no more than 8 times per year in various zone classification districts adjacent to Interstate 5 and 7th Standard Road. The applicant for this appeal and for the original project is Cal Center LLC by LAV Pinnacle Consulting and Engineering. Your board should be advised that while the original request that was considered by the Planning Commission included up to 8 event festivals per year, based on the comments received during the Planning Commission hearing process, the project applicant has reduced the request that is before you today. The project you're considering today includes a conditional use permit that would authorize the operation of 3-day-long music and event festivals that would occur no more than 3 times per year. Specifically, the request would authorize 2 events with up to 65,000 attendees per day in the months of March, April, or May, 1 event with up to 65,000 attendees per day in either October or November, and further, the request before your board is for a temporary CUP that would expire after 3 years of operation. The project site itself is located within the Cal Center specific plan, consists of 6 contiguous parcels that total approximately 255 acres in size. The site is located at 26190 7th Standard Road in the Button Willow area. The triangular shaped property is bounded by 7th Standard to the south, Button Willow Drive to the west, and Wasco Way and Interstate 5 northeast of the site. The Cal Center specific plan itself was adopted in 1998. The site has a mix of general plan and zone classifications that facilitate agricultural, commercial, and industrial use. Currently, the site is developed with a farmhouse office that is in conjunction with the agricultural operations that have been actively farmed on the site since 1985. While the site is currently being utilized for ag purposes, your board should be advised that in 2016, Precise Development Plan 9, Map 77, was approved, which authorizes, in 3 separate phases, the construction of a convenience market with a fuel island, a fast food restaurant, a truck maintenance shop, 2 commercial retail buildings, 120-unit motel, and also a restaurant. The applicant has indicated to staff that should this music festival request be approved, they would not pursue the operations that were authorized under the PD plan. Surrounding uses are developed with ag production and processing activities. Access to the site itself is provided by 7th Standard Road, Buttonwillow Drive, and Wasco Way. According to the operational statement that was provided in connection with the CUP application, the festival site management would be provided by Cal Center Events LLC. That is a partnership between the current property owner, Cal Center LLC, and ONTRACK Event Management, Inc. So ONTRACK Event Management, Inc. has provided a list of their experience with managing similar events. Those events are included on page 3 of your staff report. They represent a mix of music festivals, marathons, professional sporting events, and other large conferences. If approved, each festival operator would temporarily use the site for festival setup, preparation, operations, and teardown. Setup is anticipated to begin approximately 2 weeks prior to any event. Teardown typically concludes within 1 week of the final day of activities. No permanent buildings are proposed to be constructed or implemented as part of the request. However, the only permanent structure that could be included are water or storage tanks if required by either environmental health or the fire department. The project applicant is prepared to discuss the festival layout in more detail with your board. However, a summary of the proposed activities are included on page 4 of your staff report. In general, the site would include a 90-acre main festival area that would have up to 5 stages and vendors, a 36-acre overnight camping area that could accommodate 668 RVs and over 2,000 tent camping spaces, 3 self-park designated areas that total 75 acres, a VIP parking area on 16 acres, 2 bus shuttle staging areas, and in total there are 12 proposed access points to the site. All tickets to the event are pre-sold. This will help to ensure that the appropriate screening of attendees can be managed appropriately and also ensure that the capacity limits are not being exceeded. Based on similar type events that have been held, it's estimated that approximately 57% of the patrons would utilize the on-site parking and 43% would utilize the ride-sharing programs that are associated with this project. According to the project proponent, over 8,000 of the attendees would utilize the RV, car, and camping options. Just over 29,000 attendees would utilize the provided VIP and daily parking option, and then about 28,000 attendees would attend the event each day via shuttle bus or the ride-sharing program. Included in your staff report is an economic impact analysis of the proposed project that was prepared by California State University Bakersfield Department of Economics. The study concluded that the impact for 3 60,000 attendee festivals to the county's economy would be over $47 million when you include both direct and indirect impacts. During the course of processing the request, which includes the evaluation of the request by staff, consideration of the project by the Planning Commission, a number of concerns were raised by the various department, agencies, and interested persons that have been following this project. I'd like to highlight a few of those comments along with provide some information how they are proposed to be addressed by your board. The first has to do with traffic concerns. Specifically, how would the site be able to accommodate 65,000 daily attendees? Well, the primary tool for traffic management would include the submittal of a consolidated transportation management plan prior to each event. This TMP must be submitted for review and approval by the Kern County Planning Works Department, by the California Department of Transportation, and by the California Highway Patrol. Again, this would have to be done before each event. This plan will include all of the proposed traffic management control measures that would be utilized during festival activities. Those measures include, but are not limited to, temporary road closures and lane reassignments, emergency access routes, shuttle system operations, parking operations, traffic signage, or other management actions as deemed necessary, such as appropriate screening from Interstate 5. Each TMP plan, of course, will be tailored to the size and scope of the specific event. The Public Works Department has reviewed the submitted traffic study, and they concluded that while implementation of the project will have an impact on the existing roadway operations during the scheduled events, the TMP plan is the appropriate tool that would help address those temporary concerns. Another concern that was raised was pesticide application. A number of the properties that are adjacent to the project site are actively farmed. As part of those farming activities, those operators periodically apply pesticides through either on-ground spraying or through aerial application. Pesticides themselves, in general, fall in 2 state-designated categories. They're either restrictive or non-restrictive. The application of any restrictive materials can require up to a quarter-mile buffer from sensitive uses and requires notification to the Ag Commissioner 24 to 48 hours in advance of that application. Appropriate application methods are based on crop and the type of pesticide that is being utilized. Non-restrictive pesticides require notification to the Ag Commissioner within 30 days after the application has occurred. For purposes of this project, the Ag Commissioner has indicated to staff that the site would be considered as a temporary sensitive use during all preparation, festival, and takedown activities, which could result in a 1/4 mile no-spray buffer pending on the specific pesticide materials that would be applied. Should the site ever be developed as the commercial center or a hotel as approved by the PD plan, those no-spray buffer requirements would be considered permanent. The project applicant has indicated that they have attempted to and are willing to enter into voluntary agreements with surrounding property owners to address any site-specific concerns related to pesticide application restrictions associated with implementation of the music festival. The Kern County Ag Commissioner is in attendance today, should your board have any questions regarding the application or use of pesticides in the county. Other concerns raised include fire protection, emergency service provisions, and site security. Should your board approve the project, staff has included conditions of approval that require the submittal of a security plan and an agreement for supplemental law enforcement that would have to be reviewed and approved by the Kern County Sheriff's Office. In addition to any contracted officers, the project also proposes to have private security that will patrol the event grounds and monitor the adjacent properties during events. Conditions have also been included that require the applicant to comply with and satisfy all fire and life safety requirements deemed appropriate by the Kern County Fire Department. This includes entering into any agreements for on-site fire suppression and inspection services. There are representatives from both the Sheriff's Office and from the Fire Department to answer any questions your board may have regarding that process and how that would work. As part of your packet today, your board did receive an addendum staff report. The staff report included additional comment letters that were received by staff after distribution of the original staff report. In total, staff received approximately 13 comment letters that were opposed to the project and 13 comment letters that were in support. One of the comment letters you did receive today in the addendum staff report was from the California Department of Transportation. This comment letter reiterated the need to have the TMP plan reviewed and approved for each event. Caltrans also suggested that any festival activities be limited to April, May, October, or November, and never during any holiday weekends. Staff has included some revised conditions for approval for your board's consideration if you do decide to approve the project. These revised conditions would limit the months to those suggestions made by Caltrans, and we included provisions that specified that no festivals could be conducted during holiday weekends. An additional condition has been also included to ensure that every conditional approval is re-verified and approved before every event. An addendum to the previously certified Cal Center Specific Plan Environmental Impact Report was prepared for this project. Should your board wish to approve the request, it's the opinion of staff that all the environmental impacts have been sufficiently addressed in accordance with the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act. This item was considered by the Kern County Planning Commission on August 10th of this year. During that public testimony process, we had 8 members of the community spoke in opposition to the project. We had 6 members speak in favor, and we had 1 commenter that indicated that there's a school bus stop adjacent to the project site that must be considered during the preparation of any traffic management plans to ensure the safety of the children who would utilize that if there are any events scheduled during school days. After consideration of all the public testimony and based on the concerns I discussed earlier in this presentation, the Planning Commission voted to disapprove the request by a vote of 3-0. As a reminder, for cases that are appealed to your board, the actions undertaken by the Planning Commission are considered de novo, meaning that your board's consideration is not limited to the Planning Commission's disapproval of the original project or any of the original proposed conditions of approval. Page 24 of your staff report outlines the various options that are available for your consideration today. Your board can deny the appeal and make all the recommended findings to disapprove the conditional use permit, or your board can approve the appeal and make the recommended findings to approve the conditional use permit subject to conditions. A copy of the proposed conditions of approval have been attached to the staff report that has been provided to your board. It also includes the required 15091 findings of fact and 15093 statement of overriding considerations and the mitigation measure monitoring program that would be needed to approve the request. Again, the request today is a temporary conditional use permit for 3 years. Your board has the authority, as part of this process, to grant approval for a temporary period for either 1, 2, or 3 years. including any identified changes to the proposed conditions of approval deemed necessary to ensure public health, safety, and welfare. With that, that completes my comments. I am available to answer any questions your board may have, and I'd be happy to craft any motion based on the comments I receive during this process. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Are there any questions from the board before I go to the audience? Okay, seeing none, we'll ask for the project applicant if they have any comments they'd like to make, and then we'll start bringing up folks in favor of the project. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Daniel Rudnick, and my father and I, Phil, are the owners of Cal Center LLC, and this is our property, and this is our project that we're bringing forward. So, first thing I'd like to do is thank staff. We've been working together since early this spring on this project, and they have absolutely been fantastic, very responsive. I've never had any unreasonable delays on anything. And there's been a lot of activity on this project, as you can imagine. So I really want to give a big hand and a shout out to particularly Alexa, who's really done a significant amount of work. Before I'd also like to introduce some members of my team that are here to answer some more technical questions. Mr. Jimmy Engelman, the president owner of ONTRACK Event Management, is here. His senior director of operations, John Conway, is here. Our senior traffic engineer, John Schuler from Rutgers and Schuler, is here, and they've all been actively participating in the meetings with Caltrans and discussions of how we would develop a traffic management plan to manage the traffic for these events. So they're all available. So if we could, Alexa, please roll that video. I'd like to start there.
Welcome to the future of events. Cal Center, a Central California located 255-acre outdoor facility capable of hosting up to 65,000 attendees over a 3-day event. This proposed venue will be centrally located on the corner of Interstate 5 and 7 Standard Road, easily accessible and a short commute from the Central Coast, Fresno, Los Angeles, and the Bay Area. Cal Center will host 3 music festivals per year and will feature 90 acres of multi-stage festival space, a 40-acre camping site, 4 separate parking lots with multiple access points that total 113 acres, 2 I-5 freeway access off-ramps, and a transportation and regional hotel shuttle system to help you get to and from the venue with ease. The logistics of Cal Center will be managed by ONTRACK Event Management, who bring unrivaled industry experience, intuitive technology platforms, and a commitment to the guest experience that is designed to change the way people experience events. Not only will Cal Center bring top-notch entertainment to the area, it will provide jobs and opportunities to local residents. Furthermore, a recent economic study conducted by California State University of Bakersfield estimates Cal Center will have an over $51 million a year impact on the local economy. Cal Center will be operated by Cal Center Events, LLC, and will be built and maintained at no cost to the County of Kern. For more information about Cal Center, please visit our Facebook page at Kern County Music Festival Venue.
Thank you very much. So where I'd like to focus my opening statement here is not so much on the details of why this project is a great project. I think that that's been well summarized in the video and in a lot of the materials that the board has read and seen. But what I'd really like to do is get right to the heart of the controversies. You know, why do we have opposition, and what is it? So it seems to really center around not whether or not the project itself inherently has some fatal flaw. It's where we're citing it. Is that the suitable site? Are there too many conflicts with surrounding landowners and their farming operations that both it's going to be too much of a burden to the neighbors because of what they're doing ordinarily and necessarily on their farms, and what we're going to be doing in the ordinary necessary production of festivals 3 times a year. So first thing I'd like to talk about is, before I get into some of the other details, is to put this in context. And Mr. Murphy did hit on some of the high points, but we rezoned this property in 1988. It's there's 140 acres of this particular site that's zoned highway, commercial, light industrial. 2 years ago, we did obtain a PD plan to do a modern travel plaza, 120-room motel, and other businesses on the first phase of 25 acres. So the proposal, the land use approval that we're asking for is, number one, consistent with our specific plan, consistent with the general plan, and is a temporary use where right now there's no plans to build any permanent infrastructure until such time as our use approval, our conditional use permit is permanent, where then we could justify putting permanent site improvements for a long period of festival operations. So one of the things that the big pictures that we need to look at is that the whole face of agriculture on the west side of Kern County changed 45 to 50 years ago when Interstate 5 was put in. Everybody should have expected, and everybody wanted there to be commercial development along Interstate 5, which was designed mainly to enhance commerce in California. So every major connector you can see there is commercial activity, from the Tejon Ranch is a perfect example, down to Stockdale Highway, Highway 58, Lerdo Highway 46, and of course 7 Standard Road is very, very strategic and is right in the middle of all that. So it comes as no surprise, particularly since we had this rezoned in 1988 and never received any organized opposition from anybody. We've never hidden any of our intentions about what we're going to develop there and this sort of thing, that activity along key points on the 5 were going to happen sooner or later. So what I learned in my community outreach efforts with my neighbors is one of the big concerns they had was trespassing, and the perception is that all these people, 65,000 people, would be coming in and entering the site, that there wouldn't be any fencing, that it would just be completely open. There would be parking all along the roads and the shoulders. There would be people, walking through their farm fields and things of that in their orchards. And so the answer to that question is that's not going to happen. What we do and what the plans are, and Mr. Engelman will get into more of the details, is that there's miles of security fencing that we put up before the event happens, both to secure the perimeter and internally to direct people and to direct traffic. So there's a lot of that happens. This is a temporary fence at this point. We've seen it's 6 foot. It's the security fencing you see just about at every construction site with windscreen on it, and so that would be placed on. It could be placed on both sides of 7 Standard Road, depending upon how that's developed. But we propose that with the off-site security, the secured perimeter, that's going to be patrolled 24/7 from the time people mobilize on the site 2 weeks in advance of a festival to start building it out until the time that it's over, that this site is going to be secure. You can only enter and leave in certain designated spots, and those will all be secure spots. So I don't think that there will be anybody, that's a safety consideration, anybody off the site out there walking around through somebody else's trees. Obviously, we don't want that. We don't encourage that. We do everything we can to defeat that and prevent that from happening. Let me talk about conflicts with spraying. That's true that we do sort of have 2 classes of materials. We have restricted materials and we have unrestricted, or those that aren't restricted. 80% more or less of what us farmers use and apply, 80% are not restricted materials. About 20% are. And in this case, we've met with the Ag Commissioner. I've spoken with Glenn Fankhauser, our current Ag Commissioner, and when this project first came up, we met with Ruben Arroyo, who was just leaving the county. And it's our understanding that the buffer zone that would be placed in effect during festival operations would be a quarter-mile around the site, and it would preclude the aerial application of restricted materials during the time that the grounds were occupied for festival purposes. So looking at the pesticide use data that's filed by every farmer in the county every year as part of your restricted materials permit, it was real clear that at least certainly on the west side of Interstate 5, where we're surrounded at least now by orchards, that looking back at the 5 years of pesticide use data from 2013 all the way through the most current today, that there's never been one single application of restricted materials by aircraft, whether it's fixed wing or rotary, on the west side of Interstate 5 and all the farmland that surrounds us on that side. On the east side of Interstate 5, there have been a few. That's open ground over there, grow a few different crops, and those are the same crops that I grow, more or less. And so I know what those are, and I've looked at what the materials, and in 5 years, there's been very few applications where they could not plan in advance and work around the festival schedule. So I really think that the idea that my neighbors are concerned that they're going to spray across the road, whether it's Interstate 5 or Buttonwillow Drive or 7 Standard Road, and spray festival people that are there either working or people there attending the festival, that's not going to happen. It's never happened before. Never in all the time that we've been out there since 1985, I've never had one incident ever of one of my neighbors ever drifting pesticide or any other material or any other chemical across any of the roads that drifted on our ranch, and vice versa. Nothing in about 35 years. Traffic, I'm going to leave primarily the traffic discussion up to Mr. Engelman and Mr. Conway and Mr. Schuler. They're experts at that. But I would like to talk about, before I sit down, some of the economic impact. And one of the most important things I think that the county and any municipality is always looking at is ways to create an economy that's not only just more diverse, because diverse is one thing, but more resilient. That's the outcome that we're looking for. Something that will be there when other commodity markets like oil and gas and agriculture, which don't have control of the prices they set for their products, when they're not there. And so in this situation, we all know that the existential threat to agriculture is certainly not a music festival coming to town 3 times a year. It's water. Water is the main thing. And we're in the semi-tropic water storage district out there, and so are all my neighbors, the land that's in contention. We have about 150,000 acres in the district. Only 50,000 has contract water from the state, and that land doesn't even get its full entitlement that it needs. So there's no question that if we, in the semi-tropic district, if we just do the same old thing and continue to just farm until the water runs out, that we're going to be in real trouble. This is one of the reasons that we're pursuing a commercial use to, number one, try to reduce our intensity of water, and also diversify what we do economically ourselves. And we feel this project is excellent for the county at multiple levels. So one of the things is that we have a sector here that we would call tourism, travel, entertainment. That's really where we're focused with this particular project. And the great thing is that, there used to be a sign when you came into Bakersfield years ago. It said, "Sun, fun, stay, play." That's really what the spirit of what we're trying to do when we're trying to enhance tourism, when we're trying to enhance recreation, especially from people that are from outside the county. Come here, have a great time, spend your money, stay in our hotels, eat in our restaurants, buy things in our stores, and then politely go home and tell your friends you had a great experience and come back again. The quality of that money to the economy is pretty significant, not only in terms of the quantity, but the quality. In our particular case, as we've mentioned, what we do out there comes at no cost to the taxpayer. We don't have to raise taxes. We don't have to use county services or police protection or fire protection outside the times when we're operating a festival. And when we are operating a festival, every one of those costs for extra help on traffic management from the CHP, from the Kern County Sheriff's Department to the fire department for life safety and everything like that, from every department that's involved, those costs are all outboarded directly to the promoters that come in contract with us at the site to put on a festival or ourselves. So one of the things that we wanted to do is we wanted to make our festival a dedicated festival grounds to ultimately plant it all in grass so we don't have a dust problem, so we have a nice place where people want to come. All the promoters we've talked to said wherever we go, whether it's a stadium, a racetrack, it's all concrete, it's all blacktop. We want grass. That's what I heard loud and clear from many of the ones that produce festivals all over the country. And so that's what our plans are to do, and you'll see that in the staff report, is to mainly, except for where the roads are or where there's some other places that need a different surfacing for our bus terminal and things of that nature, is to basically maintain it all in grass. So that's what our plans are there. And again, not raising any taxes to pay for this, not coming out of pocket for the county to pay for this. This is all something that's done by the entrepreneurs that own the property and the venue, and the promoters that come here to do this. The Cal State Economics Department studied this. They also looked at various other festivals around California, Coachella Music and Arts Festival for one, and also the more recent one called Arroyo Seco, which was a family festival, a 3-day festival that the promoters that do Coachella just did in Pasadena. And they did an economic impact analysis. Cal State thought that was appropriate. They basically followed all the different ways that they analyzed the economic impact of a music and arts festival on a community, and made adjustments for things that are particular to our area of California, and things that were that they assumed would happen in Kern County in terms of various vendors here being able to supply equipment that would otherwise have to come from out of the area. And if we get up to 3 a year here in Kern County at this particular site, we're looking at somewhere around $51 million of direct and indirect economic impact to the county of Kern, and that's not including the jobs that are going to be created there. And we're talking thousands of jobs, both in pre-production, during the festival, where we come down and we train people to work parking lots, to work every aspect of that particular event. And that's one of the things that ONTRACK does. And we're glad to really have them as our operational partner in this particular endeavor. The other thing is, if you look at Napa Valley, it's another good example. They have a Memorial Day festival there called Bottle Rock. They thought, we have a very vibrant economy, wine, everything else. I mean, everybody knows Napa Valley globally. It was suggested that they have a music festival there that focused on music, focused on things in their region like food and wine. They were reluctant to do it at first. They tried it. It worked. It got better. There's no parking there. Everybody is shuttled in there. The entire town is shut down during that festival, and it has been nothing but an unbelievable success for them. It's the biggest thing that happens in Napa Valley every year. I've talked to several friends from Bakersfield that go to that, and they very much enjoy themselves. That's the kind of thing that we're trying to create here. A festival, things of this nature, it's been studied by people that plan cities and plan communities, that if you want to have a thriving community in a city, you have to have things like parks and museums and schools, and you have to have and you have to have cultural things. One of the things is festivals is a big deal. We have lots of festivals in Bakersfield. We even have harvest festivals in Buttonwillow. They're smaller and they're different, but many of them are focused around music and food and getting together and having that kind of an experience. What we're talking about here is not only for the people in Kern County, but to bring the revenue in from outside the county that wouldn't otherwise be spent here. And it's been proven. Little sleepy desert town like Indio was able to do it. If they can do it, Kern County can certainly do it. And so that's sort of, you know, the direction that we're pointed. That's exactly the direction that we're pointed. So with that, I'm going to turn over the rest of our presentation to Mr. Engelman to talk some specifics and answer your questions about traffic. But first, I'd like to say, are there any questions from the board through the chair that I could answer right now?
I don't see any requests. Thank you, Mr. Rudnick.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and the members of the board. My name is Jimmy Engelman. I'm the president of ONTRACK Event Management. You heard a lot about what we do. I'm mostly here to kind of come on and let you know why ONTRACK got involved and kind of what we've been doing for the site. About a year ago, we got involved in the project with the anticipation to see if the site was feasible to sustain large festivals. Our company does national logistics all across the country. We provide logistics for some of the largest festivals in the country and in the world. We do FEMA contracts for national disasters. We even do the Super Bowl. We have extensive experience in people movement, traffic control, parking, and safety and security for events. And so when we came on board, we wanted to see if the site could sustain what they were trying to do. Through our analysis and our extensive research on the site and using the models that we have come up with, we found that the site was conducive to doing a great festival, to sustain, be sustainable for large promoters to come in there. And one of the things we wanted to do and what the proponents are trying to do right now is to make it a standardized operating plan, and you hear about the FORs that come through and the transportation management plans, is to create those standards so that when festivals come over to try to put something on, they are adhering to the rules and regulations that are put forth by the local agencies and all the boards everyone involved. So I want to say that, you know, a lot of thought has been put into this about how people can safely engage with the site. The site is taking on a four-prong approach to make sure that congestion and safety is accounted for at all times. We are doing a robust parking plan. They are implementing a camping plan, which reduces the congestion on a daily basis. It removes a great number of people interacting with the site day to day. A robust shuttle plan is being implemented for any festival that goes there, to include the hotels in Bakersfield, in surrounding areas, including also from Los Angeles and some neighboring counties. So what they're trying to do is create a system that runs and is sustainable for itself. I want to say that, you know, with all these measures, we go all over the country and see a lot of festivals that don't put these measures in place. All of them have their own issues in regards to traffic and controls. And eventually they call companies like myself, and we even help a lot of them, to start implementing these. I think what the site, Cal Center, is trying to do now is implement them early, grow them, and make them successful so we have our best foot forward when an event comes to town. I don't know if there's any questions from the board that I can answer specifically about traffic or parking or trespassing or anything like that.
Do you have any questions from the board, Mr. Engelman? Okay, I don't see any.
Great, thank you very much for your time.
Okay, so does that conclude your presentation, Mr. Rudnick?
That's our
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. As I said, we're going to limit the speakers to 3 minutes. I'd ask you to please observe that time limit so we can move through all the speakers that we have. So right now I'm going to ask for persons to speak in favor of the project to please come first, and then after those have spoken, then we'll go to the folks that are in opposition to the project. So folks in favor of approving the Cal Center project, please come forward and state your name for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Jacqueline Anderson, Anderson. I first heard about this project in September, and I was really surprised that there was the opposition to this. I love festivals. I've been to many. I've attended Coachella, Stagecoach, EDC, and Nocturnal. I've attended Bottle Rock and Napa. We've always had a wonderful time and left with fond memories and of, a great experience. The opposition has asked, who are these people who will be attending and how will it affect my neighborhood? I've started looking into the opposition to see what it was and why they wouldn't want it here. So I want to put a face to the festival goer. I am a festival goer. This is a face of an attendee who will be, in that area. My husband has been a physician here in Kern County for 50 years. He is a festival goer. We have 5 daughters. They all have their bachelor's degrees. 2 have masters and 1 has a doctorate. They are festival goers. On average, when we go to a festival, we spend between $2,000 and $5,000. That's the travel to get there, the cost of the festival, and the hotels. It would be very exciting for us to be able to host some friends and to have it here in town so we didn't have to travel so far. It usually takes 3 to 5 days, which means extra time off work. So we use our vacation time to go to the festivals. So it would be nice to be here for a 3-day festival. The money that we spend doesn't include like when we drive down to Coachella, you stop at the outlet malls and you enjoy buying a few goodies on the way down and such like that. And I know that this would be a huge economic benefit to Kern County. My family has lived in Kern County since 1908. We have farmed and had dairies. I love Kern County. We love what it's done for us. But you want to remember, we are part of a community. And in October, when they shake the cotton, I can't breathe for 2 weeks. When the blossoms blossom, all the almonds and the nut trees, my husband has hundreds of patients who come in for allergy shots. You know what? That's okay, because that's part of being in a farming community, because of the things that our agriculture brings to us. We love our neighbors. I've been friends with many of them for over 20 years. But it's a give and take, and 9 days out of the year is not an unreasonable request. 9 days, that's it. It's fair, it's reasonable. And the spraying that happens, if you'll go, it's a matter of public record. No spraying has ever occurred in the last 5 years during the festival month period. That is the April, May, and October. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration. Please vote yes.
Thank you. Who'll be next, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, board members. My name is Bill Wright. I represent Interstate Hotels, and I'm here to speak on behalf of 3 hotels in particular in Bakersfield area and the economic impact it can have on the Kern County for this event. The Cal Center is expecting approximately 65,000 people, as you guys are aware of that. Many of them will come from different areas. They have to stay in hotels. There's about 60 plus hotels in the greater Bakersfield area that blooms into Buttonwillow and other areas, Taft and areas that will be utilized during these events. Typically on a weekend here when there's not a lot going on in Kern County, we typically run about 50-60%. If we can pick up an event like this, just on the 3 days, 3 times a year, we're looking at well over $2 to $3 million per year in increased revenue. That helps with occupancy taxes that go to the county. It helps us employ more people, and they pay taxes. They also spend more money. Just like the ladies before me said, they also the people coming in will spend money in these towns that they're staying in, whether it be Buttonwillow, Bakersfield, Taft, Delano, and those areas. Hopefully, we'll also spur additional building in the greater Bakersfield area, as there's already 2 other hotels slated for Bakersfield. There is a Hyatt Place that's to be built, as well as another Residence Inn by Marriott Hotel. Currently, the options for that land use is either a truck stop, which provides usage 365 days a year. So I know the farmers are concerned about what's happening over there, or this current festival, which is looking at about 9 days. One of the nice things for the board and the people who are concerned is if everything everybody's talking about does not come to fruition, in 3 years, you have the right to pull the permit and say goodbye. Some cities have done that with events because it did not come to what they expected. This gives us an opportunity to say, let's try to bring something to Kern County that everybody can benefit. If you look at what Coachella did, it started off as one small festival, and now they have 3 events down there that are major events that everybody tends to go to, and economically really does well for the entire Coachella Valley. Again, you guys have a 3-year protection built into this program, because again, in 3 years, if it's not what we want, we can say no to the group. It brings a lot of people and a lot of money to this county, which again, a lot of people drive through Kern County but never stop here. We want a reason for them to come here. There's a lot of small events. We want a larger event to help us. And again, as a person who represents many hotels, it definitely can improve the economy of Kern County and the status of our people. Thank you.
Thank you. Who'll be next, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Della Hodson. I am president of United Way of Kern County. I've been following the progress of this project now for some months and have met on several occasions with the Rudnicks and with their team. And I'm here today to ask you to find a way to make this project work and work for everyone. It's apparent to me that there are a number of benefits that we care about very deeply. The first benefit is to the quality of life in our community, the enrichment that comes from having cultural events such as music festivals available, not just to people in our community, but to people to come and visit our wonderful community. The economic benefits have been detailed by people much smarter than I am in those areas. And we all know the desperate need we have in this community to have a diversified and, yes, a resilient local economy. Nowhere do we know that better probably than in the nonprofit sector right now. All of us have been dramatically impacted by what has happened in our oil industry, the impacts the drought has had, and the lingering effects of both of those on our community. And those of us who work for organizations who serve some of the most vulnerable among our neighbors. With this project, the Cal Center team has built in a way to provide a direct benefit to organizations that serve those folks. I don't need to go into all the details now. I'm sure that you have, in all the materials that you have some information about it. But to me, this is really characteristic of the way the Rudnicks have done business in this community for a very long time. They have found a way to benefit the community economically, to benefit the community culturally, and to benefit the nonprofit sector and the vulnerable people that we serve. United Way is here to tell you that we are committed to supporting them in that effort, to helping them identify causes and organizations they would like to support, and to making that process work as smoothly as possible for them and for the nonprofit sector in our community. I'd ask you for your favorable consideration of their request. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, the board. My name is Dennis Layton. I'm with a company called Audiovisual Live Incorporated. We're an event production company. We provide stages, sound, lighting, and video support for concerts and events, much like will be held at Cal Center. I'd like to speak to the the fact that you have a significant number of people who work in the entertainment industry in Kern County, that this would directly benefit. Currently, there are probably hundreds of people who travel most of the year for their work from Kern County and surrounding areas. The addition of 3 or more festivals in the area throughout the year creates an environment for many individuals to work closer to home, at least during those times, spend their money on lunches and the things that they need while they're working here where they live, rather than somewhere where they have to travel, like Los Angeles or any of the places where they go to work. In addition to that, there are many businesses in the entertainment industry in Kern County and the surrounding areas that would also potentially benefit without having to travel such distances to provide their services. I would like to be one of them, but there are many, many people in the county that work in entertainment that would directly benefit and would enjoy the event grounds and the events that could possibly take place there. And that's all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Chairman Scribner, members of the board, Bob Hampton, West Side Waste Management out in Taft. One item that was mentioned in the staff report was public health. And I'm not sure this is true, but I understand during the process of the discussion, the question was asked, how are you going to handle the garbage out there? And the question was answered, oh, we'll call our friend Hampton over in Taft. He can handle it. He's been picking our garbage up for 33 years here anyway, which is part of our area out there. And if this is approved, I'm really excited about managing the waste stream out there, which would include recycling, food waste recovery, and composting. And then one other aspect about it that's not normally included, and that is litter on the highway, which we're all concerned about. And that would be part of my handling the waste stream out there, because we're heavily involved with Caltrans and the Adopt a Highway program. And that would be part of all those lead-in roads around this facility, that we could keep that litter off of the road so things look good there and for Kern County. So whichever direction you take, that part of public health of managing that waste stream could be handled. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Any more speakers in favor of the project? Please come forward. How many more do we have? 1, 2, okay, thank you. A couple more. 3, okay.
Good afternoon. I'm Marcella Ives. I am a local resident of District 4, and I'm really excited for this opportunity. I'm also a chamber ambassador and a small business owner, and I think what we've seen is an opportunity to grow our community, grow our economy, and give back at every level. So this isn't about putting dollars in one person's pocket. It's about benefiting our entire community. And I'd just like to say that I hope that you'll vote yes. And I have 150 signatures from other members of District 4 who said yes, they want your vote yes on this. So please consider us.
Thank you. You can provide this to the clerk, please.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremy Spears, and I'm just a regular person in the community. I have actually been given the opportunity to actually work with some of the people behind me here trying to get this project going. And just with some of the small things that have been brought up, it's definitely going to be a concern with many things. I understand that traffic, some of the farmers in the local area. However, you know, I think in our community, being able to speak with people, helping getting these signatures, people at work, other people I've been able to meet just about this idea that they've been able to see on the news, word of mouth. This is something that I think we can all, you know, work and find a way around it. You know, we already have traffic issues with, you know, the 58, the brand new freeway being built, and, you know, just with the approval with trucks and being expanded. These are all things that we're going to have to, as everyday citizens, go through anyways. Yet with something like this is going to be able to have us be able to work around it and have that type of revenue stay in Bakersfield. I myself have been given the opportunity to go to a couple of different music festivals in different places of the United States, and just the community that is involved is a very vibrant one. It's a very loving one, regardless of any type of genre that can be exposed to these type of venues. And I think it would be amazing to be able to, instead of having our local people go to either Vegas or places, across the nation and spend their money elsewhere, why not we, have them come here? Why not have a designated area where we can give that, community to be able to grow? Just like, with some of the people with the small businesses who can try to get involved in these type of establishments and maybe sell T-shirts or food and so on and so forth, start small but eventually grow big and have that be able to say that it came from my local town, Bakersfield. I was given the opportunity to be able to do this in my local town. And I think of all the challenges, it's something that as a community we can come together and find a way around, just like we have with anything that comes our way. Whether it was the drought, whether, again, it's the traffic, our community is constantly growing due to people from Fresno that come here and live here because it's a cheaper economy, or people from LA that come down here anyways and live here and then leave just to go make their money. Why not continue to do that by having more people come to us and be able to have different jobs, even if it's temporarily? With myself being in the oil industry for many, many years on rigs, when that was affected all of us a couple years back, I myself was also affected. Having something like this might be just a temporarily fix for gentlemen like myself or other people in our community, even for the small time, help them have some income coming in, not be on any type of state support or local support. Instead, they could be working for that money themselves in just that small time frame and continue to help their families and maybe get different experiences on their resume, and who knows where else that can take them. So I think if we really look at this at a broad spectrum here, from business, from culture, and just exposure from our town, since we're dead smack in the middle of everyone anyways, let's use this as an advantage point to fix all those issues. Thank you very much for your consideration. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Forgive me as I read from my phone. My name is Mercedes Page. I'm a small business owner. I've lived here in Kern County for 8 years. I grew up in the Santa Clarita area, the Canyon Country, where there's constant community events, community involvement, and the county thrives. I'm not sure if you know about Canyon Country, Santa Clarita Valley. And again, living here for 8 years, the only time I get that same vibrant, that same community thriving feeling is during the annual Kern County Fair event. I do believe Kern County deserves another avenue and another life-giving project like this. It deserves the jobs. It deserves the revenue. As far as trespassing, farming issues, neighboring interruptions, I believe they're irrelevant because we're working with a company. We're working with ONTRACK, or Cal Center's working with ONTRACK Event Management that does these events in places like Crowdy, Los Angeles, and other places. If traffic, people management of this extent was an issue, I don't believe the company would exist. I believe we know one thing that makes a company, a city, a county, a country great is diversity, involvement, and movement. It's not like someone from outside of Kern County is trying to bring their business here. It's 85-year-old multiple business owner Phil Rudnick and his son Dan. At 85, Phil attended his first festival, and it had such an impact on him. He felt the life in it. He has been compelled to bring it to his hometown. It's not some young person. It's a Kern County resident. We have events here and there. They're very niche. I see people my age, the people who can't make it out of Bakersfield, for events of this sort, just sitting here, marinating, waiting for something to happen. And I believe this stagnancy, this is what causes the discouragement in communities, the lack of vibrancy, the lack of, events like this. And, again, besides the fair, where we feel, everyone coming together, there's really not much else going on, and I do hope you vote yes. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, would you spell your last name?
Paige, P-A-I-G-E, Mercedes Page.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Rick Davis. I'm a retired county employee. I used to work for you. I was a department head in charge of the Board of Trade. Mr. Maggard, it's good to see you, sir. The mission of the Board of Trade was then and continues to be the promotion of Kern County and tourism. Much has been said today about the money. To put it in perspective, in Kern County, based on the Runyon Report, which is kind of the Bible of the tourism industry in California, Kern County last year was projected to do over $1.35 billion, $1,350 million bucks in tourism. This is positive input that comes in that drives businesses, taxes. It improves our quality of life. The industry, that cluster employed over 15,000 people. So tourism makes money, and it also provides greatly to the quality of the life and the perception that everyone else has of your area. The key to tourism promotion is marketing. And while we've talked about so many things today you've already heard, think about 65,000 people 3 times a year going back and telling all of their friends how great a place Kern County is and that they need to come here. They're also going to be exposed to things that they didn't know about Kern County, and hopefully they will come back. We had a saying at the Board of Trade, and that was bring them in, load up their visa, have a good time, and send them home happy and not just they can't wait to get back to do it again. So there is that economic benefit. Also, this is not a new concept. During my tenure working for your board, we explored at great length bringing, it's been about probably 8-9 years ago, bringing a major festival of this size to Kern County. It was going to be operated by out-of-area people on leased land, but again was out on the I-599 corridor. Was not in this location, but again, the importance of ingress and egress, getting that many people in and out of the event, the services that it takes, which requires very successful and professional planning, which the Rudnicks in this project have demonstrated they've hired the best to do that for them. And so you put all this together. We had too many moving parts back then. It was a work in progress, and as with many projects, now seems to be the time. All the pieces have come together. It's supported by local folks. The Rudnicks have been here for decades and decades. They're very firmly entrenched in our community, both have stellar reputations. They own the land, and they're talking about being venue operators. That's very different from being a self-promoter and bringing your own product in. This team will focus on making sure that every mitigation measure, every rule, regulation that your board employs will come to fruition and be taken care of.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
I will close then and share with you just one comment from a former board member from your board, and that's that if you want to upset someone, just try to change them. And you think about that. Change, we get into a comfort zone, and I think that as you hear the opposition, you're going to find out
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Good to see you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, Chairman Scribner and board members. My name is Warchel Cryer. I'm on a Taft City Council. I'm a councilman there, and I approve this. If we approve this venue, I see the overflow crowd come to Taft. We're a small community on the west side. We're very much affected by the oil industry. We're having, our financials are way down. Our employment's going up. And I think this will help a lot of small towns on the west side and Bakersfield. That would be a big boon to our area and to our motels, our cafes. And I just can't tell you how it affects our west side. It's getting McKittrick and Fellows darn near a ghost town. I know Buttonwell going through there, at least in the town part of it, darn near a ghost town is getting falling apart. And it's all over on the west side. I think it'd be a good asset to promote this and pass it. I wish they had more days besides 3. I think, 5 or 6 would be great, but I understand give them 3 times to try it and see how successful they are and any problems they can correct it, and hope they continue in the future to expand it. But I'd like to see the money stay here in Kern. People who go to the concerts, let's get the money stay here. But hopefully we can bring more new money into our county, because I know our property taxes are not like it used to be. Our sales tax are down. This would be a big asset to our county. And there's a lot of issues going out there, what can we do to bring different industry here? So this gives the project a chance, and hopefully we could see what happens in our future and make Kern a better county. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers in favor of the project? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that portion. Now we'll open it up to anyone here that wants to speak in opposition to the project. And same rules, 3 minutes per speaker.
Hello, I'm Peter Andriotti. I farm all along Raleigh Road. I live on Raleigh Road. I got a commercial convenience store on Laredo, the next one up. 20 years ago when I built my place, Parsons or Rudnick or any of them would have sold me that ground right there. But there was no money in it because there's no clover leaf. And I know these guys. All of them are pioneer farmers, like my family. The big problem is they're worried about 65,000 cowboys with Second Amendment rights going over here with machine gun and everything. And they got it's not about killing bugs. It's about mitigation of traffic. They need a clover leaf, a couple of them. They need some access, emergency. They're going to come, if they come from the east, they're going to go to Tehachapi, hit 99, and go up to 7th Standard. If they come from the west coast, they're going to hit 46, come down. North and south, they're going to hit the freeway. They need some clover leaves. There's no way around it. And then these guys, they got tens of millions of dollars invested in their farm, and half of their ground is right on the other side of the freeway. I'm not going to be able to get my mail for a couple of days. These guys come a day before, and they do whatever it takes to keep them up for 3 days, and then they leave 15 minutes afterwards. I've been to those things. They're a lot of fun. They're killing terrorists, I'm sure, because they got artillery, these guys. And that's the big trouble with these people. That's what they have problems with. And anybody that says they're for it, well, they don't live there. And that's the problem. They're all fat. There's going to be bad blood here. Yeah, there always is, but that's the big problem. They need some clover leaves, and it's going to have to be traffic and mitigation. Rudnick tried to mitigate by giving them 10 tickets. Now, that's not very much. Anyway, that's about what I got to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, please.
I'm not going to be quite so bombastic. My name is Fred Starr. Mr. Chairman, board members, thank you for the opportunity to speak. We farm in that area. We're neighbors. In fact, we have land adjoining the property that's under discussion. And I've got a new name for this project from an agricultural point of view. It's called a disaster on 7th Standard and I-5. We farm right next door to 7th Standard, adjoining. And we bought that land about a little over 2 years ago. Today, I can tell you unequivocally, we would not buy that land if this project was there. This is going to lower the cost and the value of all the land in that area. If this project is put there, this is a disaster for the ag community, and that's what I'm calling it, because that's very real and it's a fact. You can't operate around a deal like this, and you can't believe the confusion that it's going to create in the ag community. And I just would note for the people who are saying what a value this is, ag was #1 in Kern County, and the state and the nation. We do produce a little revenue for this county. We do produce a lot of jobs for this county. And don't forget it, you have to remember that when you're looking at this problem. And this is a problem you have to resolve. My family there's 4 of us my two sons, my son-in-law, and myself. And this has a real impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Starr. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Daniel Paula. I represent Fred Paula Farms. It's on the west side of the event and on the southeast side on the other side of the freeway. I'm a graduate of Cal Poly, double major, crop science and fruit science. I'm also licensed by the state of California to advise on pesticides. I have all 7 categories in that. I'm also a QAL, which allows me to apply pesticides in the state of California, and I have a total of 10 categories in that, each one requiring a test, and my PCA license requiring me to go to college for that. I'm also the president of the Kern County Spray Safe, which is there to try to prevent any pesticide drift and any issues. One of my concerns is that the perception of pesticides is extremely negative. Since I've got involved in the industry, it's changed a lot for the negative. And we'll be running airplanes, helicopters, ground herbicide rigs, aero fans, all types of equipment that's going to be spraying. And one of the problems isn't that if we do drift, the thing is the perception. This would be the equivalent of putting a shooting range next to a school. Even if the shooting range never shoots the school, the fact that there's guns there and there's noise of guns going off, it would cause serious issues because people would assume that there is a shooting or something bad happening. Just because there's agriculture here and pesticides, people automatically assume something's bad happening. I'm going to go back to the 2015 Paramount drift that happened, Wonderful Orchards. Their drift was a half mile away with a product. They ended up receiving a fine, a pretty hefty fine. And when you're applying pesticides, especially when you're spraying upwards towards the foliar, one gust of wind can easily change the direction of that pesticide. And if you run the math on 65,000 people at a county fine of $700 to $5,000, if we drifted on that event, that would cost my family $45 to $325 million, which would instantly cause us to go belly up. The setup alone has up to 1,900 people, which can cost us up to $9 million in fines. A spray delay, if we are not able to spray, can cause really negative effects on the crop. When you have insects and diseases that exponentially repopulate, crop can be wiped out in a very short period of time. And we would not be able, obviously, to move equipment anywhere. It'd be dangerous for us to operate. My family's been farming in Kern County since 1913. We've owned the property on the other side of that field, since 1953, and we do have contract water in the semi-tropic district and plan on continuing to farm that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. Next speaker, please.
Mr. Chairman.
Good afternoon.
Supervisors, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you this morning. My name is Larry Starr. I don't have a fancy video or a team of experts with me, but I wanted to say to you that I have this bag of 100 balls. And if you would allow me, I can promise you, if I open this bag of balls, that all the balls are going to stay right on this podium. Would you like me to show you how this will work?
I think we get the picture.
You get the picture.
I thought maybe we were going to get a song.
Well, that comes later. The point being is, these balls, there's 100. This is a little podium. You're talking about 65,000 balls on a 200-acre field. There's no way, and I know they're promising you that they can contain it, that they have the bodies, that they have the ability to contain it. But my experience is you won't. It takes one ball to slip off the podium and you got a problem. What I've seen on our farm, we farm also close to Shafter, which is a town of 17,000 now. And on that farm every day, Bob Hampton, I wish you'd come fix this for me, but every day we have baby diapers, we have beer bottles, we have beer cans, we've got used condoms, we've got anything you can imagine we've had to deal with. And And I know you guys are busy and you have a lot to do, but the county doesn't pick those up for us, right? We're the ones that take care of it as landowners, and it takes time, money, and resources. So I'm going to tell you that trespassing happens. Every day we have someone drive through our orchard or park in our orchard doing whatever nefarious thing that goes on in orchards at night and daytime. And it happens. People get there. Let me just say, I've been to festivals, and I've been to Dodger Stadium. I've been to USC when there's this game, and it is hard to get around. It's hard to find parking. If it's not free, they'll find a place to park for free. And I know the sheriffs are very busy people. And these guys, if I'm going to call them, they're not going to be able to roll up and say, hey, get out of that orchard. First of all, I don't know if they'd find them out in the orchard, right? That's one of the things. If there's camping, whatever, how are you going to keep them out of our orchards? So, on that note, I just want to give you a real life experience thing on trespass, because every year, come dove season, there's 200 guys out on our ranch in camouflage pants with beer and guns, and who gets to deal with them? We get to deal with them because these guys are busy. Fish and Game is busy. Their experts are going to be busy with 65,000 people. Who's going to deal with the guys out in our orchard? It's going to be me, and they're going to be not happy, and they're not going to be polite. They're going to say, hey, we're here to see this shows. So you guys know we have a problem. Ag is really important to us because it's my life. As Dad said earlier, and I don't mean to go over, but the challenge for us is, how do you manage 65,000 people next to a working farm? It's really complicated, and Kern County has always been an ag-friendly county, and we've appreciated all that.
Thank you, Mr. Starr.
All over the years, and I can tell you that we want to continue to have that relationship with the county. So please vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
That came out wrong.
Good afternoon, Chairman Scrivener and the rest of the Board of Supervisors. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. My name is Michael Frey, and I represent the Tracy Frey and Selvage families of Buttonwillow Landing Cattle Company and Tracy Ranch. And I do have, at the end of my speech here, I have a short video to share with you. The proposed site is in a high traffic area that is already heavily used by farm and oil field traffic, including slow moving farm equipment. The proposed site is within close proximity to the headquarters or hub of our ranch. Any significant increase in the traffic will adversely affect the safe movement of men and equipment from one part of our ranch to another. I'm wondering why, since we're just getting started with this project, why we're not having it at one of the existing sites that would be suitable for it, that are a short distance away, such as the Kern County Raceway Park or even the Buttonwillow Raceway Park, that could handle several thousand people and several thousand cars and have the amenities to do that. I'm also wondering how we can possibly think that there are sufficient law enforcement, emergency services, first responders, and firemen to handle a large-scale catastrophic event such as what happened in Las Vegas just a few weeks ago. Both the 7th Standard overpass and the Buttonwillow Drive overpass have terrible blind spots where merging traffic cannot help but pull out in front of through traffic because they cannot see what is coming from the other side of the overpass. And with that, I'd like to play my video if you have that ready. So this is the intersection of 7th Standard Road and Buttonwillow Drive. It's a time-lapse video, so it squeezes 1 hour's worth of traffic into 37 seconds. And what we're seeing is traffic from trucks carrying onions and tomatoes and almonds. This was shot in August this year, just a few weeks ago. If it were shot a couple of weeks later, you might have seen cotton trucks or pistachio trucks rolling through here, or alfalfa or wheat in a different time of year. But this is normal traffic. This is just typical traffic between 2 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon on any given day. There's lots of oil field trucks coming and going, and passenger cars as well. So I just wanted to give you kind of a visual representation of what's normal out here. And if you can, imagine what the traffic would be like for adding 65,000 people to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Mr. Chairman, Supervisors, my name is Albert Ghilarducci. I am a farmer, and I do live in Buttonwillow. I think more will be said about the traffic, but I have to tell you, as a person that drives through mostly on the Raleigh side of I-5, through that area, it is just phenomenal some days. I don't know why the traffic gets confused, but trust me, just go there and park and watch them when they're getting off southbound. Somehow they get confused, and it's usually not the locals. And I've seen them do all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm like, wow, let me get out of here. I can't even imagine 65,000 people. And I know that would be spread over a few hours, but let me tell you, there's always traffic all year long there, and it's scary driving through there. As the planning commissioner might have mentioned, it might be a decent idea, but maybe the wrong place. One thing this might not mean a whole lot to a lot, but I live in Buttonwillow, west side of Buttonwillow in town, and it's relatively quiet. The Buttonwillow racetrack, it's like about, probably as a crow flies, I'm going to guesstimate, I'll be honest, I'm guessing it's about 6-7 miles or so away. We can go outside and hear the race cars anytime you want. It's not very, very, very annoying, but you can hear it. You won't be able to just be real quiet and just enjoy the moment. If this event, which is about 3 miles from Buttonwillow, sounds travel, I just proved that. I have no idea if I really want to go outside and listen, and I promise you I will hear this loud and clear. And that's a big concern of mine, and that should be a concern of people that don't really want to be at the concert, even though they're miles away, and they have to put up with it. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Would you spell your last name, please, sir?
Yes, Ghilarducci. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Scrivener, Board. My name is Jolene Parsons. I represent Parsons Farms and A.J. Parsons Family Partnership, Parsons Farms farms the ground, and A.J. Parsons owns the ground just directly south of the venue, and then also on the other side of Interstate 5 on the southwest side. We've farmed this ground, been farming for close to 100 years, farmed this ground since 70s, and built it up, planted trees on it, invested a huge amount of capital to get this thing going, and it's just not a good fit for us in our operation. You know, we have to spray. Somebody had said we don't spray by air. Well, we do spray by air. They kind of missed that. They glossed over that a little bit. We do spray by air. We spray with ground rigs. We spray at quite a few different times of the year. We spray during the festival times, and you know we don't know when we're going to spray because we don't know when the bugs are going to show up. That's really not our call. We spray when the guy comes in and says spray, and it's usually a matter of time, and we have to get in there and spray and do it. And it's not like you can wait. And you know, they talk about 9 days out of the year, but between setup and tear down, that 9 days pushes out to about 9 weeks. And it'd be a real hardship on us on that. And then also is the traffic. In our one block, we have to pull the tractors out of the end of the field almost onto 7th Standard Road to turn around. They're talking about putting a fence up, basically blocking us in and blocking us inside our field, so we're not be able to use that field for the whole length of, I don't know how long this fence would be up in that. And then traffic. I mean, we drive out there every day. I got the farm ground on both sides. The ground to the south of there is our hub. That's where our headquarters is. We have to take tractors across that. Most of them are 20 foot wide or better, take up both lanes of the road. Every day, we have to bring them in at night, not because we want to, because of vandalism and theft. We have to bring everything in at night and bring it back into the headquarters. We have to haul pesticides, we haul diesel, we haul everything across that, you know, on almost a daily basis to get to the other side of the ranch. And the festival's a great idea for Kern County. Don't have a problem with it, just terrible location. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir. How many more speakers do we have, please? Okay, I'm counting 4. Great.
My name is Monica Slicker, S like Sam, L-I-K-K-E-R. I'm the president of Slicker Flying Service, Inc., and we do business as Vince Dusters. They're putting up a picture. And I know the pesticides have been, sorry. Pesticide spraying has been addressed and how bad it is. And I want to go back to an incident on 8/2 at 7:20 in the morning, and it was, this is one of the emergency feeds. It says hazmat level 3, 100+ patients exposed to unknown chemical, possible pesticide overspray, mass casualty incident. That same day at 7:35, it says update, exposures believed to be a pesticide overspray from a helicopter. Kern County Fire Department setting up decontamination. This is in the Old River area. First thing that was addressed was they think it's a helicopter. There was a helicopter, not out from our company, but he was over half a mile away doing a lawful application, but that's where everybody's mind jumped to first. And I bring that up because the news, it's a sensationalizing thing for the news to always show an airplane or helicopter if there is some kind of spray incident. The next slide, please. It happens that that incident, it was a field close to where those people were working and harvesting, and it was a field that had been fumigated the day before, the evening before. So it wasn't a helicopter, but that's where everybody's mind jumped to first. Can you do the next slide, please? On the Cal Center Festival, you see I have some red marks inside that yellow area. That's the sensitive area. There is a red mark that says the main screen. So people will be facing that main stage. I'm sorry. To the southwest is a white line. That's our runway. And our airplane will be taking off and landing to and from there. I am not speaking to you about us spraying within the Cal Center event, no spray zone. I'm talking to you about assuring our business that we can keep running our business during the event and the setup times while people see our airplanes land and take off. Sometimes 8 to 10 times an hour. It just depends. And you might have seen airplanes before if you're on the freeway or whatnot. And you know, you're not a captive audience. You can leave. These people, you're gonna have 65,000 people looking, being a captive audience, watching that airplane. No matter how safe we are, if somebody says they're sick and the county comes in, it'll be an incident that's investigated. It will be us investigated first, which could affect our business. And
Thank you,
we've
ma'am.
been there a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please. If you want to speak, and if you can try to make your way down here near the front so we can speed this along. I know we're almost finished. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board of Supervisors. My name is Don Palla, P-A-L-L-A. And I noticed today there was nothing brought up about the hazardous route out to Safety Clean. I see that Safety Clean kiboshed the possibility that there was an alternate route, because there is none. The toxic trucks that go to Safety Clean go by Mr. Rudnick's property, and there's no alternate route. So there will be toxic trucks in the mix of the traffic of the venue traffic. The overflow traffic, I read, looks like it's going to be directed down Riverside and Burbank Street. Those two streets, you can say they're paved, but they're marked as a rough road, and they don't have a white line, they don't have anything, which means there are going to be people going all over the place out there. This morning, I had to move a 21-foot wide, I farm on Corn Camp Road in Buttonwillow and on Magnolia in Shafter. And this morning, I had the normal opportunity of moving one of my 21-foot wide rigs over the freeway on the 7th Standard overcrossing. And it took me 20 minutes this time. I had a driver, and then I'm the flagger, and I get up to the top of the ramp, and when it's clear coming, I flag my tractor, and he goes, well, it took me 20 minutes this morning. And the part of the problem is it's not a problem, is that 7th Standard Road has become the preferred route from Bakersfield to I-5 if you're going north. And so probably half of the vehicles that I was waiting for were big rigs. With the all of the security that's going to have to be figured out there at the venue as they're letting people in, I know how long it takes to get on an airplane, and they're checking my carry-on. They're not checking my van or whatever I would be driving into there for, well, bombs or guns or marijuana or whatever they check for. So in the meantime, that traffic is going to be going out onto Interstate 5, and it's going to be backing up there. I'm jumping around here. The buffer zone that Mr. Rudnick needs, one would think it should be on him, not on everybody around, because we were all there first. And to go in and say, okay, now you need a buffer zone, well, it seems like a violation of our CEQA rights out there. Because hotels, they'll have a buffer zone, but it's on them. It's not on the neighboring farms.
Mr. Pollack, can you please bring your comments to a close?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This is a great venue, and it belongs in Kern County, and I can think of a dozen places to have it, but not right there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please.
My name is Jane Parsons. My family farms adjacent to the site, and I live in Buttonwillow. One thing I wanted to bring to your attention, Cal Center has mentioned more than once that there was approval in 2016 for commercial development on this site, and they don't seem to be able to understand why farmers are concerned now and maybe weren't at that time. I can't say if they were or they weren't. But one thing that I see is this is a 255-acre site. 140 acres of that was approved for commercial development. There's 110 acres of Zone A prime agricultural farmland that is now going to be taken out of production. That's the point that nobody's making here. This is prime farmland. Yes, they say it's a temporary permit and we could put it back into farmland. They're proposing planting grass or some sort of a ground cover and using underground irrigation. That doesn't really amend itself to be able to then farm that in the future. So I just wanted to bring your attention to the fact that there is prime farmland that will be taken out of production and in all likelihood never returned. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Do you have any more after the deputy? Any more speakers? Okay, great. You're it. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, fellow members of the board. The Sheriff's Office is here not to support...
May we have your name, sir?
Oh, Larry McCurtain, Chief Deputy with the Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office is not here to support nor oppose this event, but rather to provide your board and the public with information regarding the resources it would take from a law enforcement perspective to ensure for a safe environment regarding public safety. Now, this event is estimated to have up to 65,000 people attend per day. The Sheriff's Office locally, we have planned certain events. Our larger event that we plan every year, as you know, is the Kern County Fair, which this past year had approximately 448,000 attendees over an approximate 12-day period. If we break down the math, that is still going to be less than half each day of what this event is. This event, the jurisdictions that have the most experience here in California with events like this is obviously the Indio Police Department, where Coachella and Stagecoach are hosted. They deal with these events every year and have been dealing with Coachella since approximately 1999. Now, the Coachella event is held on a 600-acre parcel. This event's proposed to be held on approximately 200 acres, which is approximately 60% smaller geographically, which is going to equal more congestion in a more compressed area. Coachella was approximately 125,000 attendees per day. Stagecoach is approximately 55,000 attendees per day. And the Indio Police Department and neighboring jurisdictions fluctuate their resources and their manpower depending on the type of events that are scheduled each day. According to Indio PD, they actually assign a supervisor approximately 8 months prior to this event full-time to plan and work out the logistics for law enforcement response. Coachella and Stagecoach both average over 200 officers per day, and some days up to 280 officers per day for these events. That's a significant amount of resources, and the Sheriff's Office could not sustain putting that many resources towards an event of this size. There are other agencies that have designed event matrices for different types of events. For lack of better terms, it's a threat assessment for us to help determine what our staffing would be in response to the number of attendees. Some agencies, any event, outdoor event involving alcohol, such as concerts where there will be 3,000 or more attendees, is deemed a higher risk event. For the first 3,000 attendees, a standard response is 8 officers and 2 supervisors, and for every 500 attendees after that, add 2 additional officers per. So if we do the math for 65,000 people, we're looking at approximately 260 officers per day to staff. That's during the hours of the event. Now, I understand this event would have overnight camping, which would have to be staffed 24 hours per day with a smaller contingent of law enforcement. Now, I would be remiss if I did not mention that there are other hidden resources that do have to be combined into something like this. This day and age, we all face different threat streams, as we've seen recently in the news and over the years. Bringing large amounts of people into compressed areas sometimes offers up a potential target of opportunity. Law enforcement, and I'm not saying that that's something that would happen, but we would be remiss if we did not plan for something like that to happen. So when we do plan for events such as this, and even on smaller, we do have a comprehensive counterterrorism response plan that includes additional resources that have to go to that. So the 200 plus officers per day is your hard number of uniformed officers that are out with the crowds. There are other officers that are available and ready to respond in the event that an unfortunate incident does occur. And those officers are comprised of special weapons teams, terrorism liaison officers, explosive ordnance disposal technicians, narcotics gang officers, and air support resources. So there are many other resources that go into planning events like this. Additionally, in Coachella, from 2017, there was 277 arrests during that event. So if we break that number in half, which is 62,500 attendees, if we just took a half an average of that, you're looking at potentially upwards of 100 arrests per day. The average for October, the Kern County Jail received 809 bookings, so the average for a 3-day weekend would be 202. So if we broke that down, as in Coachella, they averaged 92 arrests per day, and charges ranged from vandalism, public intoxication, drug offenses, assaults, sexual assaults, thefts, and hit and runs. If we break that down over 3-day events here, that would be approximately 93 additional arrests per day for our jail, which would impact our jail and our transportation by over 100%. In addition, if 65,000 people do come into our county in this area, there may be other areas of the county that are impacted because these people will be staying at places potentially inside of our county, hotels, motels, other campgrounds, and such. That potentially has where we would have to staff additional officers in those areas because of the increase in population also. So those are some of the concerns from the law enforcement perspective on what it would take to staff events like this to provide for a safe environment for our public. And I'll be happy to take any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions for the Chief? Okay, you may get called up later. Okay, that concludes the public comment period. We have Beatrice? Okay, come forward. Okay, is this our last speaker? Are there any other in opposition? Because I'm moved to the rebuttal period. Okay, you're it.
Beatrice Sanders, Kern County Farm Bureau. Though our organization did not take a position in support or in opposition of this event site proposal, I did just want to come in and hope that you all received our letter from yesterday, just to voice a couple of concerns that we would have from the agricultural community, unexpected agricultural events, the unpredictable nature of farming in general. I am here. I wasn't planning on being here, but I was in Sacramento this morning and I just made it back. I will be here for the remainder of this meeting along with our Ag Commissioner, Glenn, to answer any questions to that. I lean more on Glenn for his expertise in the unpredictable nature of agriculture. If you guys have more questions or details on the farming practices there. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the period of time for the folks that are in opposition. I'm going to allow a 5-minute rebuttal. Madam Clerk, please set the clock for 5 minutes. 5-minute rebuttal to the project applicant. And you guys can divide that time up however you want.
Mr. Chairman and the board, I just wanted to touch base on some traffic.
What's your name again, please?
Jimmy Engelman, again, with OnTrack Event Management. Some of the comments made about traffic, we put a pretty robust traffic plan together with feedback from Caltrans and feedback from CHP, who both had great suggestions in combination with what we were trying to do. We have active controls in all the intersections. We take an active approach for the I-5 traffic north and southbound. And when the traffic does come onto our property, there is no active checks at the driveways. Everything is put onto the property in multiple lanes to alleviate the traffic. All the active checks go through security screen points where all the attendees are going to be screened and make sure they're not bringing on any prohibited substances or paraphernalia into the event. So that does not really bog down the traffic concern when they are coming. With that said, also, there are multiple ways to get to the event. The camping does hold quite a bit of people that are not day-to-day travelers. Once they come on, they do get onto the property, and they stay on the property from Thursday through Monday, and they don't come to and from the property on the other days, so they're not part of the traffic problem. With the transportation solution coming on board as well, that's controlled transportation to and from the property. All transportation hubs have pre-screening, so that gets done at transportation hubs, so that streamlines the process. And for the rest of the traffic that comes to and from the property, it's roughly about 10,000 cars of the spots. All of those are pre-bought parking passes. All the zip code data is analyzed prior, and those are then specified. They get specific parking passes where they're coming from, and then their route to the site is predetermined based on their zip code data. So we take further approach into making sure that it's not just a free-for-all system onto our venue. They are engaging in a specific lot of one of our 5 lots, and that is predetermined when they do buy the parking passes. I do want to mention some of the trespassing. We build security fences and put security measures in place. We put those in place so people don't come onto the site. We typically don't have problems with people leaving and engaging with surrounding areas. I do a lot of events in major cities that are impacted by residents. We're talking thousands of people that live next to Golden Gate Park for the outside lands that has 85,000 people coming, and it is impacted by neighborhoods. This does not have that same situation when it comes to residents and people coming to and from every day to their houses. And even with that said, there are measures in place with all the agencies that make it possible with community outreach to let it come to and from the event. So I just want to say that there's a lot of measures in place to make sure that the congestion is controlled from the get-go.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Phil Rudnick. First of all, I agree with Larry Starr. We have a problem. We have a problem in our county. We have a downturn in oil and gas that's going to be extensive. We have a downturn in agriculture because we don't have enough water. We're not worried now about losing prime farm ground. Prime farm ground is being fallowed because there's no water to farm it. We have a problem in Kern County, and we need to open up and understand that we need to diversify to meet the needs of the people that live here, not just the people in Bakersfield, but 900,000 people that live in our county that will benefit economically and culturally from what we're proposing. In a way, this is a gift to Kern County. Absolutely no cost. All the expenses of additional surveillance from the standpoint of safety is going to be embedded in the producers of these things. Any additional expense that this county has to have to control anybody is going to be paid for by the producers or the venue operator. This is a gift, and I'm suggesting, hoping, that this board will exercise its judgment to see the benefit of this. And yes, there is some impact on our neighbors, and they're all good people. And we've lived with them, we've farmed with them, and my father dealt with them. The problem is that you need, in all cases where there is some impacts, we need to balance the equities. We need to see what the problem may be creating and what the benefits are. We've been told not only that our project here will bring over $50 million a year to the community, but we've been told that Coachella, who's been going for 20 years, is now contributing $400 million to Coachella. We won't have to wait that long. This is a long-term, sustainable source of revenue for our county and for the 900,000 people that live here. And frankly, in a 5 to 10 year period, as this project goes on and builds, you're going to have an aggregate. Hopefully I'll be here to see it. I'm only 85. You will have an aggregate of over $1 billion that this project will bring to this county and benefit and improve the quality of life. So yes, we have a problem and we need to deal with it. And the way to deal with it is not to close our eyes and find a way to say no, but to find a way to work with professional people. We're not here to tell our neighbors how to farm their ground, when to move their tractors. Why are they telling us how we should run this? If we didn't have the right people that we think could handle the traffic and handle all the issues that came up, we wouldn't be projecting this to you.
Thank you, Mr. Rudnick.
Thank you very much, and I trust that you will support this project.
Thank you. That closes the public hearing portion of the meeting. I'm now going to return to the board. This is in Supervisor Couch's district, so I'll go to him first. Supervisor Couch, when you're ready, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go as fast as I can, but this deserves a little bit of time and attention. I'm going to start with the traffic question. So I'm going to ask either Mr. Murphy or, do I see Mr. Pope over there? Could I have you available if I need you? I understand Caltrans doesn't take a position on the project, but there's something that's a little backwards with this to me, and that is that, to be blunt, we have found a way to anger a bunch of long-term landowners and farmers in the county and make Caltrans an entity that is routinely despised, the hero to those same folks if the transportation management plan or a variety of other mitigation requirements can't be met, and therefore Caltrans says no to the project. So I'm making that comment because I just think that in going forward, what I would like to see in things like this, and this is no reflection really on staff, but I think we need to see if a requirement is a transportation management plan, or if a requirement is some sort of physical infrastructure improvement. I want Caltrans to tell me what that is before we have a hearing like this, or any type of agency that is going to have sort of a final say and have as important a say in the mitigation of a project like this. So, Mr. Pope, have you seen a letter from Caltrans dated? And I haven't asked you this in the past, but we got a letter from them dated October 30th, 2017. It was 3 pages long, including the signature. But on the second page, I want to understand what this means. And I'll just read it to you. It says, all tools utilized for mitigating planned festival events should be identified clearly. These should include, but are not limited to, and the first bullet point is freeway traffic control, dash, ramp capacity or additional capacity, comma, alternate routes, comma, and ramp metering. What do they mean?
Through the chair to Supervisor Couch, I'm not sure exactly what Caltrans's point was. I have talked to them. Their biggest concern is they're trying to get a handle on exactly the impacts. And their concern is by studying the proposal, they weren't sure what they are. They never can be. This is a venue that proposes a very big influx of people. There will be congestion. There will be traffic issues. But this group has proposed a very robust answer to that. And when you say Caltrans will be at the head of accepting or rejecting it, only because Caltrans, they have to get a permit from them, but they have to get a permit from the county also. Every venue or every plan they put forth has to be checked by us and approved by us. Every time they do one of these, it'll have to be reapproved. So even though we're doing a planning zone approval for 3 years, each event. So if they do an event and it doesn't work, we're going to make sure it either works again or they don't have it again.
But when they say ramp capacity, what do they mean? There could be the potential that they could require a cloverleaf or a widening of an off ramp, or do they just mean you're going to have an officer there that's going to somehow mitigate how fast people come off the freeway?
They are looking at the study, and their best guess is it really will work. But if it doesn't, and it severely impacts, they don't want to back up on I-5. If it does impact and it doesn't work, they will require an additional lane possibly as an off-ramp prior to the next one being approved.
Okay. Thank you. You might please stay close. Let me ask you again, Mr. Pope. Page 1 of that letter says that the applicant should submit a TMP, that's a traffic mitigation plan, that includes, quote, a full inventory of roadway systems, a full inventory of the roadway system serving the event site, including roadway geometrics, intersection control devices, and saturation flow rates. Has that been submitted?
Not to my knowledge yet. I don't know that the first plan has been done. I think they have brought forth
the concept of a traffic.
Okay. I don't know if they. I'll turn to their traffic engineer, John Schuler. Has a detailed report been presented?
I recognize there are some assumptions you have to make. You have to assume there's 65,000 people or there's 50,000 people. But has there been one submitted with any assumptions in it?
John Schuler, Supervisor Couch, through the chair. There has been a traffic study, and this letter came out as the result of a meeting with Caltrans back last month. And so it was a very good meeting. I think Caltrans, just as Mr. Pope says, the variabilities with some of the traffic here, there's the I-5 traffic and has fluctuations throughout the seasons and things like that. And Caltrans looks at that and says, you know, depending upon, and this is one of the reasons why they used, you know, came back with an April and a May time frames, because we want it to be at the lowest. We want capacities to be the lowest, or the actual background traffic. And so the project has prepared a scenario of a generic event, and then a traffic handling plan that would be a generic traffic handling plan to go along with that. And that's what has been under discussion with Caltrans. And they just want to...
And the response was this letter?
Yes. As part of that, they want to continue dialing in onto the details of... And I think the part of what's coming out of the discussion is that there are enough variables between a generic, here's what could happen as an event, versus here's a specific event. Here's who's coming, here's when they're coming, and here's, you know, the time of year, and here's what the background traffic typically looks like on the street system during that time. And then Caltrans can dial into that and say, yes, we're comfortable, or no, we're not comfortable during that time.
I'm assuming that in the generic traffic management plan that was submitted, that you picked a particular date and you said, we have X amount of people that we have sold tickets to, and they're going to show up, and this is what, and you included all your assumptions, including a date. So are you telling me that that's, I'm not trying to denigrate your work or whatever, I'm just trying to understand what was submitted.
Now, there was no specific date. Okay. It was more of a generic time frame, and then, like I say, a scenario of a generic event.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Mr. Pope. Is it Commander McCurtain? Chief Deputy. Could I ask you a couple of questions? I think you said this, but could you go over again, let's assume 65,000, because that's what the request is. Tell us again the number of officers you would need for this type of event. I think you said 280?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair. Yes, if we use certain formulas that other agencies have used going into an event that we have never planned for before, we would feel more comfortable using a type of formula where it would provide us some extra staffing to gauge that incident. And if we were looking at 65,000 people per day, we would need approximately 260 officers to staff during the time that those 65,000 people are there.
Okay.
And then during the evening time, the nighttime, in the camping areas, we would have to figure out how many folks were there. And I had heard estimates there that there could be around 8,000. So we would have to do the math and figure out how many officers for that. And then that's not in addition to the other staff for logistics, dispatchers to set up a temporary communication center, such as we do at the Kern County Fair, and transportation, booking, and other specialized resources.
And the reason, I'm going to ask a little delicate question. The reason you don't want to talk about the number needed for the counterterrorism and the gang units and all that is you don't want those numbers public.
Correct, sir.
Correct? Okay. I'm assuming also, but I want to make sure that I'm assuming correctly, that your contract with whomever this would be with would include the direct costs of the deputies, any overtime costs for callbacks to replace people that would be taken off their normal schedule.
Correct. And the Kern County Sheriff's Office does not have the available staffing to provide the 260 officers per day. So I know there's, such as in Indio, there are other subcontracts with allied agencies. That environment down there is there are more local police departments and larger agencies around for them to pull from. Not so much that we have in this area of the county. It would require reaching out to other other county sheriff's offices, larger police departments in our area to see if they would even be willing to dedicate the resources to that. And it would be an extensive process. I'd have to defer to county council at times because they would have some say on how these contracts read, and we'd have to deal with the councils from the other jurisdictions.
You haven't done any of that work yet?
No, sir, we have not.
Have you been asked to at all?
No, sir, we have not.
Okay. I think you spoke to what you've looked at other areas and what Coachella has experienced. And I think you talked about some of the impacts that, which I had not even considered, but it kind of obvious it would have some impact on the jail. Is that something that are those costs that you would include in this particular type of contract? Whatever those costs are.
Supervisor Couch to the chair, that would be something that we would have to look at Indio and see what their model says. But for our department to recoup the costs of additional staffing that we would have to provide at the jail, the booking of the subjects, and the transportation, I would say yes. We would include that in a contract.
Have you had any discussions, the recent events, or tragic event in Las Vegas, probably, I'm assuming, caused lots of concerts and festival promoters to rethink their safety plans and all kinds of things. Has anybody contacted you about what you were envisioning in the beginning and what you might envision now?
In regards to planning for an event like this,
right,
pre-Las Vegas and post-Las Vegas?
Yes, sir.
No one has contacted us to talk about that. However, those are things that are taken into consideration. I've been to many different conferences throughout the United States dealing with Homeland Security issues, and anytime there is a major mass casualty incident, it is something that is debriefed by law enforcement, and it is something that is looked at from a different perspective. And a lot of this began even before September 11th, but since September 11th, every mass casualty event, albeit different weapons, firearms, improvised explosive devices, to most recently using vehicles and large trucks to run into innocent bystanders. All these different potential criminal and terror acts are looked at when events are planned. Unfortunately, as a law enforcement community, we learn from the most recent ones, such as Las Vegas. Those things are planned for, but sometimes different events happen that we learn from and adapt as these incidents go forward.
You have to plan for the worst, and we hope for the best.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. A couple of questions, I think, for planning now. Can you talk about what were the findings made by the Planning Commission in their hearing?
Supervisor Couch through the chair. So specifically, one of the findings that has been included in your staff report indicates that the commission, in considering the information and testimony provided at the public hearing, has determined that the concerns raised are sufficient basis to allow the commission to reasonably conclude that A, the proposed use is not a year-round compatibility with surrounding agricultural activities based on the record, and B, the size and frequency of the events could potentially be materially detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare of the public and the property and the residents in the vicinity. Again, a lot of the commenters that provided testimony this evening were also individuals who spoke, and many of their comments were very similar during consideration of the Planning Commission.
Okay, thank you. Can you comment? Maybe Mr. Pope needs to do this. If I don't know who it's for. I've heard two stories on the Clean Harbors routes. I know when they were approved, they've got, I think, 2 routes available to them for the trucks that are hauling the hazardous waste. how does what's proposed here impact that project?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, if the clerk could put a map, we have a map showing the route. We did receive a letter from Clean Harbors. We did re-verify the conditional use permit as well, and there is a single route that is identified. Now, it does change slightly whether you are coming northbound or southbound, but in either case, when you exit I-5, you will run adjacent to the property until you reach 7th Standard. If you're coming northbound, you get off at 7th Standard and you follow 7th Standard. Again, you follow that all the way to Corn Camp Road, excuse me. You then turn south and take that down to Low Kern Road.
So I'm sorry.
No, the only thing I was going to add is that that concern has been identified. There is a condition that will require the project applicant to consult and discuss with Clean Harbors prior to having any events, so that Clean Harbors can adjust or do what they believe is necessary. Additionally, the traffic management plan could take into account the possibility that there could be materials that have to utilize that road, and could make provisions to ensure that if a hazardous truck that is going to that facility goes by the road, they have an egress to get to that location. But that is the route that's identified, and they are not authorized to take hazardous materials other routes.
They don't have the authorization to do that. It would. Let me back up and say it another way. Could an answer to that issue be that Clean Harbors comes before the Planning Commission, the Planning Department, and gets approval for a secondary route, for lack of a better term, but they don't have the option of, probably don't want to do that. They've got their approvals. They don't need to open anything up, but they don't have the option of taking another route under their CUP or their conditions.
Supervisor Couch, they do not. In the letter they provided, they specifically identified that no hazardous waste associated with the facility shall be trucked through the community of Buttonwillow. To that end, the following routes going to and from the site. And again, that then is a routes that I had identified.
And the reason, again, I want to make sure I understand, the reason that they would have to take another route is certainly during the events, and potentially during setup or tear down or whatever, either 7th Standard Road and possibly the road to the west, the Buttonwillow Drive, would be closed to any traffic, any through traffic, and available only to event traffic. Is that right?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, that would be dependent on what the final determination of the traffic management plan says, whether or not a full closure was needed, whether or not a partial closure was needed, and there was a side location that ran along that street that would provide through access. I believe that would be something that would be looked at specifically as part of the site-specific transportation management plan.
Okay. Could I ask Mr. Our Ag Commissioner, come up? I want to say Fankhauser, but it's Funkhauser, right?
No, the opposite.
It's Fankhauser.
It is Fankhauser, yes.
30 lashes from my staff that wrote funk. We've received several letters from neighboring farmers concerning the restrictions on pesticides. And you've seen the recent letter? I think we got it today from the Farm Bureau.
I haven't seen it, but I'm aware of what it's in it.
Okay. The Farm Bureau points out that, I'm quoting, agriculture and its practices are constantly changing, and due to unpredictable weather and water resources, farmers often have to make quick decisions amidst their farming operations. Their spray practices are difficult to time and plan due to regulations. However, they are a necessity to a successful growing season. So, can you comment on, and I know you don't own a farm in the area, but can you comment on how this project would impact a farmer's ability to apply pesticides to their crops, just specifically?
Sure. I don't think there's any question that this venue is going to make it more difficult for the farmers, the neighboring farmers, to not just apply pesticides, but perform farming operations just in general. Specifically, it's been mentioned about the classifications of pesticides being restricted and non-restricted in the quarter-mile buffer zone by air. That's just the maximum buffer zone. There are many buffer zones. Every material could have a different buffer zone specific to that material. So it's all dependent upon various different things that would come up to the grower, dependent on the material, dependent on the pest pressure that they have. So you have all kinds of different buffer zones and all kinds of different requirements that they would have to meet. Just in general, this creates what we call a sensitive area, which would be in place during the time when any work is being performed prior to, during, and after these events.
And I think we heard earlier that it's a sensitive area during 3 days for each event or 9 days a year. But what I think you're telling me is it's a sensitive area during the setup, the event, and the teardown.
That's correct. And I do think that Beatrice, in the letter that the Farm Bureau makes a good point about the unexpected nature of farming operations. That's inherent in being a farmer. Pest pressure can come on at any given time, and it generally is time dependent. And so you may need to address that quickly, and if you don't, through the application of pesticides to get rid of that threat, then it could potentially negatively impact your crop.
Okay. There's another issue that I would like you to address, and that is there's a particular zoning that's already on the property that would allow for, I believe it's a 120-room hotel, a restaurant, and so there's a thought that says, hey, if you have 3 events a year, maybe they're 3 weeks in duration with the setup and everything, that's better than having a hotel and a restaurant there 365 days a year. I don't know, you're the expert on that. Is it better, or is it, do you have more of an issue with 65,000 people there for 3 days and people coming and going during setup and teardown?
Right, exactly. I mean, I think there's, both situations would have negative, you're not necessarily, I don't really want to say one is better than the other. It's true that if we had permanent structures such as a hotel, restaurants, gas station, that creates a permanent buffer zone 365 days a year that the growers in the surrounding area would have to deal with so that they don't drift onto those people. But then you could also say, okay, we're going to make it better by not having it so many times a year, and then it's not a permanent buffer zone. But then that's mitigated, or that's, the fact is that now you've got many more eyes, and if you have up to 65,000 people, that's a lot of people that potentially is more of a problem during that time. That doesn't mitigate the fact that during the rest of the year, you don't have that buffer zone necessarily.
Thank you. That's all I had there. I'm almost done. Were there any, does anybody know, were there any public meetings or events held in the Buttonwillow area, that is a community in the 4th District, that were just open to the public, where the project was explained and people were allowed to ask questions? Was that ever done? No. That's one of the things I wanted to make.
Yes, there was. I sent out.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yes, there was.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm going to ask the chairman to ask you to either to recognize you to come down to give a.
Do you want to hear from her, Supervisor Couch?
Yeah, if she says there was, I don't know where it was. maybe you could tell us
Yeah,
where
we
it
need
was.
you to
Thank you,
use,
Mr.
we
Chairman.
need you to use
My
use the
name is
microphone.
Jacqueline Anderson, Anderson, and we were trying to contact all of the farmers. I contacted the Buttonwillow Chamber of Commerce, and I called several of them personally and sent personal emails. We had a dinner, and the Chamber of Commerce was represented, and several of these farmers' wives were there.
In Buttonwillow?
No, we had it at a event center, Stockdale Event Center. And we provided dinner from Cafe Med, and we were there from 5 o'clock until 9 o'clock with explanations and diagrams and any information they wanted. We did offer that.
My specific question is, was there a public meeting?
That is it was a
Excuse me,
public meeting.
Excuse me, my specific question was there a public meeting in Buttonwillow allowing the people that live in Buttonwillow, the farmers that farm in Buttonwillow, to come to an event in Buttonwillow?
When I spoke with the Board of Chamber, they didn't request that we come to them. I offered them dinner, and they said they would come to us. So it was a mutual meeting point. So it was not in Buttonwillow, but it was agreed upon mutual point.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, can we recognize one more that has his hand up?
Yes,
I think
it's up to you.
Mr. Starr.
Yes, thank you. I would like to address...
Larry, we need you to come to the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Couch, through the chairman.
Did you bring 100 balls with you this time?
I didn't bring my balls. Okay. I mean, the balls. They're up there. God, we're going to really digress quickly. I just want to say that we never received an invitation to any meeting, open meeting in Buttonwillow, or that meeting either. So just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I agree with the need to diversify our economic base. Our action earlier today by this board is evidence that the board and the staff are committed to that. I don't think we have the luxury of taking a quick look at something that sounds nice and supporting it. We have to, I think we support the concept, but we have to look at, as I said before when the chief deputy was at the microphone, we have to look at what are the worst case scenarios, hope for the best, plan for the worst. I don't think that's been done here adequately, and so I'm going to make a motion, and I would really like to find, I've looked for a way to support this project. I'd like to support the concept, but I'm going to make a motion that we support the staff's recommendation and ask Mr. Murphy if there is any particular wording that you need to incorporate into that motion.
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, it appears, based on your comments, the overall request would be to deny the conditional use permit. Therefore, you would be taking the similar and same action that the Planning Commission did. Therefore, the specific recommendation would read to adopt resolution and recommended findings denying the appeal and disapproving the conditional use permit as requested.
Okay, that's the motion. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second or any requests to speak from any other board members? Supervisor Gleason.
Okay, I'll go. What a great idea! I think it's a wonderful idea. I mean, I think it satisfies a lot of needs for our community. It brings culture, it brings fun, it brings people, it diversifies the economy, and there are many, many positives to this this whole deal. And for many reasons, I like it. On the other side of the coin, you know, and it's funny because the tough decisions are always one where you have good arguments on both sides, and you got to sit there and say, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" The other side of this coin also has some outstanding arguments and concerns. Primary of them are traffic flows, whether or not we have the infrastructure to support the inadvertent or the maybe unanticipated impacts to other hazardous material trucks or other traffics that require to use a very small infrastructure of roads. The public safety issue is an issue of that needs to be concerned. It's concerning to me, and we need to manage it. But my biggest concern, overarching concern to me is this. Our agriculture community is under significant stress coming from a million different directions, and it is difficult for people to come here to farm, to have fun farming, to enjoy their work, to prosper, and in an environment where our agriculture community is one of our top industries, our top economic drivers. So another thing that bothers me is that plans that developed, outstanding, excellent plans that have been developed, don't always work out, because I have been to a USC game. I have watched, have had to park 5 miles away and walk and run and only get there by the second half and miss the drubbing that the Notre Dame was giving to the Southern Cal folks at the time. I'm vitally concerned about the perception or the misperception that Kern County is, in its efforts to develop economy and to diversify, are doing it at the expense of our ag community. I don't think I could stand and be part of that. My introduction on the Kern County website, if you read and they introduce the people and say, okay, this is Joe Blow, and this is what I do, and this is what I stand for. Well, it says Mick Gleason, and I can't give you chapter and verse of what it says, but I know that it says that I will work diligently to protect our oil industry, our ag industry, and our economic, our aerospace industry. And I'm hanging my hat on that. I'm hanging my hat on the fact that I think this is a wonderful idea. I'm utterly disappointed that we can't, that we haven't been presented today with a win-win. I can't understand why we can't come together as a bunch of really smart people. Everybody's vitally concerned about the health and welfare of Kern County, and we can't come and bring this great idea over the end zone before us and say it's a win for everybody. I can't believe we haven't done that, and I think we need to do that. So my final thought is that I'm not willing, especially today, with the environmental stresses that are being put on our ag community, to add one more. So I'm going to support the recommendation from our Planning Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gleason. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been around the music business some. I would love to have concert series and festivals in our community. I hope that it's possible to do that. I used to brainstorm with some folks that have the potential to pull these things off on how to do them. I think there are a number of venues that could be developed in Kern County for that, and it's something that I hope we can have someday. I have concerns about the implications upon agriculture. I'm not going to belabor that because that's been explained thoroughly. I have significant concerns about the consequence of traffic on I-5. I am up and down that corridor often. In my experience, and I suspect those of you that live in that area and are there a lot, you notice that very often traffic backs up just south, actually directly out on I-5 in front of where this property is, just south of that overpass on the north end of this site. Just south of there, between there and the turnoff for 58, is where traffic tends to back up. And on a bad day, it backs up all the way past that off-ramp there to go to Button Willow. That's a problem. And I don't see that this has an answer for that. There is no assurance that we don't know what if this were to occur on Memorial Day weekend, April, May, and October, that is the season that's suggested for it. There could be very, very significant implications to that traffic. So I'm not there today. I hope that we find some place to do something like this, because I would love to see it happen. But I'm going to support Mr. Couch's motion.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to reiterate Mick's remarks and express how incredibly painful it is to have such a remarkable opportunity that has been presented today, and with all of its complex investments and people and players, it is really, really heartbreaking to have to recognize that given the expertise, the decades-long insight into not only the physical nature of this location, but also the nature of farming, its complexities, and its increasing and problematic nature in California. I don't know how we ignore the expertise of the people that know this better than anybody, in light of the particular challenges we have in California and for the Central Valley. So I'm really heartbroken because I think this is just the kind of thing that will continue to enhance or can enhance quality of life in Kern County. But heartbreakingly, I just don't think it's the right location. So it's with great and profound sadness that I don't see this working for a number of reasons. And that's been a difficult conclusion to get to, but I sincerely and authentically believe that. So I hope we can do something of this nature in a location that makes sense, because I think it's absolutely incredible. My apologies to you.
Thank you, Supervisor. When I first heard about this project, just in concept, I was excited about it. I thought about the chances for us to continue to diversify our economy. We just had an item right before this that was chiefly about just doing just that, and just continuing to enhance the cultural opportunities for entertainment that we have in the county. But I just feel like we'd be trying to pound a square peg into a round hole. The location just isn't right for this project for all the reasons that have been articulated, and it's disappointing because I would like to see something like this for Kern County, but I think that we have to rely on the expertise of the folks that have been farming this area for generations. The comments from our sheriff's department, those are very concerning, the type of a strain that this would put on our law enforcement capabilities. And for just a litany of other reasons, I'm going to support the motion from Supervisor Couch. So you have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
Do we have a second?
I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Now we have a second. Please cast your votes.
Supervisor Perez, can you reconfirm your vote? Thank you. The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you to everybody who was here today to provide comment. We have one remaining item on the agenda, and that's item 29. I pulled that from the consent agenda. This is an item under the County Administrative Office, and this is a response to a referral that I made back on December 8th of 2015 regarding the feasibility of a community choice aggregation program in Kern County. Community choice aggregation in general, I'm not going to ask staff to do a long staff report on this, but in general, this would be a different way for us to provide energy to our constituency. And Mr. Alsop, in the staff recommendation, I agree with staff's recommendation basically that we should take a wait-and-see approach until the regulatory environment fleshes out a little bit more, specifically in regards to the power charge and difference adjustment, or the exit fee for if people were leaving a power provider, if they would have to pay some kind of an exit fee. And so there's a decision I believe is pending with the California Public Utilities Commission in regards to that exit fee. And so rather than just agreeing to receive and file, which is the staff's recommendation, I'd like to receive and file with a request for staff to return to the board with a follow-up report regarding the outcome of the CPUC's decision on the PCIA. So that would be my request from the board, that we would hear this once we get a little bit more regulatory clarity.
Will do.
Okay, so that's my recommendation. I'd like to get a motion to that effect.
So
it'll come back.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any members of the public who would like to make comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. And that brings us to the conclusion of our agenda. And our next meeting will be on November 14th at 9 a.m. So do I have a motion to adjourn? We are adjourned.